I entered the Lin residence as a maidservant at the age of 10, specifically assigned to tend the fires for Mama Chen in the kitchen. Year after year, I stoked those flames, and gradually, a deep bond formed between Mama Chen and me. At first, she complained that I was clumsy and awkward with my hands and feet. How could she have known that I wasn't clumsy at all? I just needed time. By the time the opportunity came, I had mastered the art of controlling the fire perfectly. Whether frying vegetables, stewing soup, or steaming buns, the fires I tended were always just right. Thanks to this, Mama Chen firmly held on to her position as the head cook. But then she began to worry that one day I would leave her. She feared I would be like the other maidservants, scheming to enter the inner courtyard to serve the young mistress, or climb into the young master's bed to become a concubine. I told her I had no such intentions, but she didn't believe me. She worried for a whole year before finally stopping. Then she started scolding me, calling me a girl who only knew how to hide in the kitchen corner, a maidservant with no ambition at all. I smiled and asked, "Who said I don't have any ambitions?" Mama Chen pointed at the sweet potato and corn I had just pulled out from the pile of glowing embers. She asked coolly, "So this is your great ambition?" I gently peeled away the charred black skin of the sweet potato. The fragrant aroma immediately filled the air. I took a bite of the hot roasted sweet potato, soft, sweet, and incredibly aromatic. Closing my eyes, I showed an expression of pure bliss. Mama Chen glanced at me and snorted softly, "Give me half a piece." I immediately grinned from ear to ear and obediently broke off half to hand to her. She loved eating these too. After we finished, Mama Chen said in a low voice, "You are the most pure-hearted girl I've ever met. You shouldn't stay cooped up in this kitchen forever." I smiled and replied, "Mama Chen, but this is exactly what I want." She burst out laughing. "You're really something. What's so bad about tending the fire? The Lin residence is wealthy. They use only the finest firewood and charcoal, and the kindling catches easily. After 5 years, I still haven't gotten tired of this job. No one comes here, and the person I interact with most is just Mama Chen. I don't have to read anyone's expressions or bow and scrape to others. Besides, I have a wonderful person like Mama Chen." On the surface, she was cold, but deep down she was very kind. Whenever she cooked something delicious, she would always accidentally leave some for me. Truthfully, I ate better than the masters of the residence. The first person to taste any freshly cooked dish was always me. Only then was the flavor at its purest. What job in this world could be better than this? After transmigrating to this world, my only goal was to hold on to this job tending the fires in the Lin residence, and live a peaceful life until old age. I reached my hand into a small nook beneath the stove, where I secretly saved the silver I earned each month. No scolding, delicious food to eat, and I could even save money. What job could be better than tending fires? Young Master Lin Feng of the Lin family had been betrothed to the legitimate daughter of the Q family, Kui Wan heir. The wedding was set to take place right after Kui Wan's coming of age ceremony. But who could have expected the unpredictable winds and rains of fate? The day before the ceremony, Madame Kui suddenly clutched her chest and shoulder in agony, sweating profusely. Even the best physician in the city couldn't save her. After writhing in pain for several hours, she passed away from what was clearly a myocardial infarction. From the symptoms alone, I immediately knew what it was. In ancient times, there was no way to save her. It would require modern techniques to dissolve the blood clot and insert a stent into the artery. Here, they could only rely on herbal medicine to prolong life, with little chance of success. After hearing the news, Mama Chen calmly continued stirring the large pot of congee with her ladle. With the mother's death, according to the rules, the young miss of the Q family must observe 3 years of mourning. The Lin residence will surely take some action. I thought they would probably break off the engagement. After all, young Master Lin Feng was already 18. It wasn't common for a man in ancient times to remain unmarried at that age. Madame Lin and Madame Kui had been close friends, and they had arranged this marriage for their children years ago. Madame Lin adored Kui Wan, who was 3 years younger than her son, treating her almost like her own daughter. To ensure her son would truly cherish Kui Wan heir, she had always arranged for the two to meet and had strictly forbidden any woman from serving him intimately. She hoped the young couple could stay together for life, loving and devoted to each other. But as soon as Madame Q passed away, Madame Lin became sharp and suspicious. She thought that since Madame Q had loved her daughter like the apple of her eye, and had exhausted herself preparing for the coming-of-age ceremony, only to die right before it, perhaps Huayan was different from her mother. With doubt in her heart, she secretly summoned a fortune teller. Since this was a serious matter, the diviner was extremely cautious. It took him 3 full days to deliver his conclusion. Huayan was not unfilial like her mother, she simply had thin blessings. Thin blessings were manageable. Madame Lin immediately abandoned the idea of breaking the engagement. But thin blessings. That meant she couldn't bring prosperity to her husband. Madame Lin felt that she had previously made her son preserve his purity like jade for Huayan's sake, which was truly unfair to him. Now, was she supposed to make him wait another 3 years? For someone with a frail fate, it wasn't worth it. After much thought, she decided to keep the engagement intact. However, she couldn't leave her son's chambers empty any longer. She needed to arrange a woman for him. She decided to select 2 maidservants from the residence to become his bed warmers. Since they were her own people, they would be easy to control and less likely to cause trouble. The Kui family, upon hearing the news, was very understanding. After all, with young master Lin Feng's status, a wealthy and grown man, he should have had 3 wives and 4 concubines long ago. After discussing it with the old master of the Lin family, Madame Lin made her decision. As soon as the news spread, all the pretty maidservants in the residence became excited and dressed up beautifully, flocking to Madame Lin's place to flatter and curry favor with her. Mama Chen looked at my face, blackened by kitchen smoke, clicked her tongue, and said, "I've saved some rice water for you. Wash your face properly, and in 10 days your skin will be fair and smooth again." I picked up a sweet potato and asked her, "Can I roast one today? The kitchen has a lot of dishes to prepare today, so I won't ask for many, just one." Mama Chen widened her eyes. "Can't you think about your future for once?" I rubbed my stomach and looked at her pitifully. She sighed and gave in. Fine. Madame Lin had already decided on 2 beautiful and eloquent maidservants. One was her personal attendant, and the other was the daughter of the steward, born and raised in the residence. Both were trustworthy and loyal to the madam. Mama Chen said, "Madam already made her choice long ago. This so-called selection is just for show for the young master." I nodded. Of course, the woman by her son's side naturally has to be in sync with her. That's how all mothers-in-law are. Mama Chen gave me a sideways glance. "What would you know? You've never even been married." I smiled. "But I've heard plenty. All the senior and junior maidservants in the residence like to come chat with me. A stove-tending maid like me gets overlooked, so whenever something happens, they come here to gossip." Mama Chen rubbed her forehead. "You've heard so much. Yet why haven't you gotten any smarter? Instead of trying to please the madam, why do you keep running to me?" I replied, "In my heart, you are my mother, far more important than the madam. You're getting old, so I'll take care of you in your old age." Mama Chen was stunned. I truly meant it. When I transmigrated into this body, it was that of a 10-year-old girl. For some unknown reason, I had been wandering the streets with ragged clothes full of holes. Not long after arriving, I fainted from hunger on the street. At that time, I thought dying might be good. Maybe I'd transmigrate back. But I didn't die. Mama Chen, who had gone out to buy firewood, happened to see me. She had someone carry me back to the Lin residence, and begged the old madam to let me stay and help tend the fires. The old madam agreed. She loved the steamed eggs and tofu that Mama Chen made and had never tired of them after decades, so she was willing to do her this favor. Mama Chen gave me the name Chen Wei. I worked alongside her, and we received a share of silver each month. More than when she worked alone. Every time wages were distributed, she gave me my full portion without keeping a single coin. A year ago, Mama Chen told me, "Before, I didn't know where you came from, so I didn't sign a body sale contract. You're still a free person. Last year, I asked the old madam to register you in the household registry. Now you have the status of a common citizen. It was then that I decided I would take care of her in the future." Now that I said it seriously, Mama Chen suddenly teared up. She had spent her life without a husband or children and had never dared to hope that someone would support her in old age. Hearing me now, she began to cry. She believed I would do it. Over the past 5 years, she had watched me grow up and knew my character inside and out. Mama Chen's original contract was a death contract, but before the old madam passed, it had been changed to a living contract. As long as the master was satisfied, she could retire and return home if the master agreed to release her. After the old madam died, Mama Chen's treatment in the residence declined sharply. Madam Lin didn't like people connected to her mother-in-law, but since Mama Chen caused no trouble and her tofu was delicious, she kept her on. Though her treatment was now no different from that of an ordinary maidservant, Mama Chen had wanted to leave for a long time but had nowhere to go. Now that I said I would support her in her old age, she had hope. She said that once I managed to please the madam enough for her to release me, the two of us, mother and daughter, could open a small shop and live comfortably. I was overjoyed. She had truly come to see me as her daughter. I hugged her plump, warm body tightly. It smelled wonderfully of stir-fried spicy potatoes. In this place, I had found a family member, a mother who could cook. Man proposes, heaven disposes. Huayan, who genuinely wanted Lin Feng, also cared about this matter. Selecting bed warmers wasn't a big deal, but she personally came to inspect them. After the inspection, news came that while they could select bed warmers for young master Lin Feng, they could only choose one, not two. They were not to pick anyone too beautiful or skilled at flattery, lest it distract young master Lin Feng from his studies. When Madame Lin heard this, her face flushed and paled alternately. Her son's studies had always been her greatest concern. When Lin Feng was 15, he had taken the imperial examinations but hadn't passed. The messenger brought word that Miss Qi had mentioned a certain stove, tending maid in the Lin residence. At that moment, I was peeling sweet potatoes. I jumped in shock, nearly throwing the potato in my hand. Thinking I had misheard, I asked, "Mama, what did you just say?" Mama Chen smiled until her eyes crinkled. "This is fate. What is meant to be will be. You can't force what isn't. Our little Weier truly has good fortune." I pointed at myself in astonishment. Miss Kui really mentioned me. Mama Chen nodded. There was only one dedicated stove, tending maid in the entire residence. The others were servants who took turns. This twist of fate was truly something. Mama Chen was so happy that her double chin appeared. I was still puzzled. Why me? I had always kept a very low profile. Mama Chen said, "Miss Kui has met you before. She liked you at first glance." "Huh. When did that happen?" I thought for a moment and vaguely remembered. That day, Mama Chen had gone out to buy ingredients. The sky had been clear when she left, but half an incense stick's time later, a light rain began to fall. I had just finished cleaning the bottom of the pot and hadn't had time to wash my face. I grabbed an umbrella and rushed out to meet her. I ran so fast that my face was splattered with rain, streaked black and white like a tabby cat. As I passed through the gates of the Lin residence, I saw several elegantly dressed people getting off a carriage. I didn't pay much attention, never imagining that Huayan was among them. Mama Chen said, "At that time, Huayan happened to glance over and found your clumsy appearance amusing, so she looked a few more times." The steward welcomed her in and eagerly introduced me. "This is a stove, tending maid in our residence. She's a bit slow-witted but very honest. She's been here for 5 years while the other maids from the same batch have all been promoted. Only she remains in the kitchen tending the fires." Huayan burst into laughter. "She truly knows her place." The steward chimed in, thinking he was providing useful information to the future young madam and showing his loyalty. Who would have thought this kindness would inadvertently ruin his own daughter's marriage prospects? After viewing the 2 selected bed warmers for Lin Feng, Huayan remained calm on the surface, but jealousy raged in her heart. Both girls were the sweet and lovable type, especially the steward's daughter. She was graceful and charming. Just looking at her made one want to pinch her fair, delicate skin. Huayan was so furious that her hands clenched tightly. Upon returning to her residence, she immediately sent a message, "That stove tending maid doesn't seem bad either." Madame Lin nearly fainted from anger. All her hard work had gone to waste, but since the future young madam had spoken, she had no choice but to show respect. Madame Lin personally came to see me. At the time, I was focused on controlling the fire. The glow of the flames reflected on my face, making it look both flushed and radiant. Madame Lin watched for a while, then had people inquire about me. Everyone gave the same evaluation: dutiful, gentle, honest, and reliable. What was there to doubt? For the past 5 years, I had only followed Mama Chen and focused solely on tending the fires. Madame Lin sighed. Fine, choose her then. Even if she stays by Zier's side for 30 years instead of 3, she won't distract him. This should satisfy Wan Er. She compromised for Wan Er's sake and decided on me. First, she called Mama Chen over to inform her. After Mama Chen talked her ear off, and with the salary being 30 times higher than my current one. Far too tempting. I agreed without much hesitation. I thought that being a bed warmer would only involve serving tea, washing clothes, and cleaning the bedchamber. I could handle those. As for serving in bed, surely it wouldn't fall to me. Young Master Lin Feng had seen plenty of beauties. He definitely wouldn't be interested in someone like me. Mama Chen looked at me like I was a fool and said, "Not necessarily." I figured she had never had a man, so she must have some fantasies. Clean yourself up a bit before going to see Madame Lin. She looked me over from head to toe, left to right, but still couldn't find anything particularly special about me. A hint of disappointment flashed across her face, but she understood this was the only choice. The Q family was not one to offend, so she had to swallow her grievances on behalf of her son. Quickly adjusting her mindset, she asked me gently, "Chen Wei, do you have any requests?" My eyes lit up. I could make requests. Her expression shifted slightly, as if she didn't like me suddenly showing ambition. Suppressing her irritation, she said, "If you want to be promoted to concubine, you'll have to wait." I quickly interrupted, bowing respectfully as I spoke. "Madam, what Weier wants is that in 3 years, you allow me to take Mama Chen and leave the residence." Madame Lin had been annoyed at being cut off, but upon hearing the request, she was stunned for a long time. Then she laughed. A genuine laugh. "Good child, what an obedient girl. I agree. I happily returned to the kitchen. When Mama Chen heard the news, she hugged me tightly, refusing to let go. In 3 years, just 3 more years, and the 2 of us could leave the residence and live good days. The decision to choose me as the bed warmer was sent to the Kui residence. Wan Er was extremely pleased and peacefully continued her morning, eating vegetarian meals and chanting sutras. The Lin residence was abuzz for a while. Everyone was surprised. The 2 girls who had thought they would soar to the heavens and become mistresses felt even more heartbroken. Strangely, no one was jealous of me. Instead, they pitied me, a mere stove tending maid. Even if she became a bed warmer, she wouldn't catch the young master's eye. And it would be even harder for her to find a husband later. Mama Chen said, "They dare to look down on our Weier. Just wait until they open their eyes wide and see." I didn't mind. I chuckled and handed her a roasted ear of corn. She took it and bit into it with a huff. The corn is so fragrant." Lin Feng had taken Shu Pingshan as his teacher. Shu Pingshan was the top scholar from the previous imperial examination. He had resigned from his official post and returned to his hometown to teach. His ancestors had been officials, and his family was quite well off. Teacher Shu required Lin Feng to move in with him for easier instruction. Madame Lin told him to bring me along for convenience in taking care of him. Thus, I followed Lin Feng to the Shu residence. He didn't treat me as his bed warmer at all, only as an ordinary maidservant he had brought along. Teacher Shu was displeased that Lin Feng had brought a maid, but after taking one sharp glance at me, he said nothing more. I quietly served the 2 of them. Before long, Teacher Shu's gaze toward me softened considerably. Mama Chen was right. Who wouldn't like a dutiful girl like me? The Shu family had no other servants. The entire residence only had the 3 of us. I felt that the Shu residence wasn't as large as the Lin residence, but it wasn't too small either. The 2 of them handed the silver to me, letting me manage all the household expenses. Before long, I raised a flock of chickens, the quiet kind that didn't crow much and only laid eggs. I also planted various vegetables: green onions, chives, cabbage, and more. In my previous life, although I had worked in a big city, I came from the countryside. That's why I had a strange passion for farming and raising livestock. Teacher Shu required only 2 meals a day, saying people shouldn't be too obsessed with food. Lin Feng obeyed him dutifully, and I obeyed even more. I devoted myself to making those 2 meals truly delicious. I already knew how to cook, and I had learned from Mama Chen for 5 years. Breakfast was simple, mainly eggs, steamed buns, congee, and pickled vegetables. Dinner was when I could truly show off, rotating through dishes from the Northeast, Shandong Yunnan, Sichuan, and Beijing styles. I didn't repeat a single dish in a month. Using minimal oil and salt, the food was still incredibly fragrant. I focused on gathering natural ingredients with distinctive flavors to use as seasonings. Every time they ate, Teacher Shu would show an expression of appreciation. I served quietly, speaking little. Teacher Shu was very satisfied with me. One day, my hands itched, and I made a plate of stir-fried sweet potatoes with sour and spicy flavors. After eating some myself to satisfy my craving, I tried bringing it to them. Teacher Shu wasn't good with spicy food, but after tasting one bite, his eyes lit up. He couldn't help but praise it. I've heard you've spent 5 years without leaving the kitchen. Indeed, single-minded dedication leads to achievement. With cooking skills like this, even ordinary ingredients can become delicacies. Hearing Teacher Shu's praise, Lin Feng looked proud, his face beaming as he smiled at me. This was the first time he had shown goodwill toward me. I quickly smiled back in return. Ever since he found out I was his designated bed warmer, he had always shown dissatisfaction, never looking me in the eye directly, speaking to me little, and keeping a cold face. But I had never been impatient or upset, nor had I felt ashamed or angry. No matter what he did, I remained like cotton, soft enough that even if he struck me, it wouldn't create any ripples. It was truly boring. Once his emotions faded and reason returned, Lin Feng gradually calmed his anger. He must have thought it through. The 2 beautiful maidservants being rejected had nothing to do with me, a mere stove tender. On the contrary, choosing me had completely put Kai Wan-er's mind at ease. Previously, she had often sent people to monitor Lin Feng, but ever since I was selected, all her spies had been withdrawn. For Lin Feng, this was a rare freedom. At night, when he reviewed his studies, right after arriving at the Shu residence, he hadn't let me attend to him. After he stopped being angry with me, he allowed me to sit in the back. Sitting there with nothing to do was boring, so I picked up a storybook to read. He glanced at it, but said nothing. Thus, I continued reading with peace of mind. I didn't neglect my duties. Every so often, I would refill his tea, grind more ink, or add oil to the lamp. My mood was excellent. With a handsome young man as company, reading storybooks became even more enjoyable. Playing the classic role of the beautiful study companion suited the atmosphere perfectly. That day, I had gotten hold of a new storybook with quite an absurd plot. I was engrossed in reading and forgot there was a handsome young man in the room with me. Suddenly, I jumped when I realized a refined face had appeared right in front of me. I startled badly and realized that Lin Feng was truly handsome, with fair and delicate skin. Unable to resist, I reached out and pinched his cheek. He froze. Only then did I remember who he was. I quickly withdrew my hand and fled, leaving the storybook behind. The next day, I thought Lin Feng would scold me, but he acted as if nothing had happened. So I continued reading storybooks with peace of mind. Halfway through, I struggled to hold back my laughter. I looked up at Lin Feng's black tea and inkstone. Not needing to add anything, I picked up the storybook again. The author wrote too humorously. I gritted my teeth to endure it, but eventually I couldn't hold it in. My shoulders shook as I covered my mouth. Is it that funny? Lin Feng turned and asked me. I burst out laughing, then stood up to apologize. Young master, I'm sorry for disturbing you. He said, I'm asking you, is it funny? I replied, oh, it's hilarious. He said, tell me about it. I recounted how the childhood sweetheart had her heart stolen by the boy next door, so she uprooted all the trees in his courtyard. Just imagining the scene makes me laugh again. A delicate young miss with the brute strength and boldness of Lu Jishan. It was such a stark contrast. He asked. Her heart was stolen again. He picked up the storybook I had left behind the previous night. This one was also about a childhood friend stealing someone's heart. I replied, yes, this genre has been quite popular lately. He said, clearly there are plenty of women whose hearts get stolen. Why do they always write about men? It was then that I realized he had read the storybook and was even pondering it. This wouldn't do. He still had to take the examinations. I couldn't let his mind wander off track. I reminded him, it's just for entertainment. Young master, don't take storybooks as reality. He asked, do all women like reading storybooks? I replied, pretty much. He asked again, just for fun. Not only that. He continued, then why else? To soothe the heart. Everyone feels pain when betrayed, but after reading a few storybooks and seeing the men in them repent, imagining yourself in the story makes the sadness easier to bear. And so we chatted. I discovered that storybooks were truly powerful. Even the lofty Lin Feng was drawn in and could talk to me for a while. Although the conversation was enjoyable, I didn't forget to remind him. Young master, you absolutely must not let teacher Shu find out about this. He will punish you and say you're not focusing on your studies. Lin Feng nodded. All right. The next day at lunch, teacher Shu took Lin Feng up to Mount Bai, saying they wouldn't return until evening and would eat outside. As soon as the two left, I was overjoyed. The cat was away. I immediately cut a bunch of chives, cleaned them thoroughly, drained them, beat some eggs to mix with the filling, and kneaded dough to make dumplings. I had been craving them to death. Because teacher Shu had very strict requirements about food, onions, garlic, and chives were all forbidden. It had been so long since I'd eaten them. At noon, a plate of piping hot dumplings came out of the pot. I picked one up and put it in my mouth. The fragrance filled my entire mouth. I was savoring this delicacy when I'm starving to death. Is there anything to eat? The kitchen door was pushed open forcefully. Teacher Shu and Lin Feng walked in one after another. I had just put a dumpling in my mouth when Lin Feng caught me. I hurriedly swallowed it, nearly choking. They smelled the aroma and immediately looked toward the plate of dumplings. I quickly grabbed a lid to cover the plate and bowed respectfully. This servant will cook some noodles right away. Lin Feng walked over, lifted the lid, picked one up, and said, "Watch me." He put it straight into his mouth. After one bite, his expression changed instantly. He immediately reached for a second one, but just as he brought it to his mouth, he suddenly remembered teacher Shu. So he brought the entire plate over to the teacher and said, "Teacher, you should try some too. They're delicious." I wanted to stop myself but couldn't in time. Teacher Shu also picked one up and ate it. Then it was one for me, one for you. They quickly devoured all the dumplings I had worked hard on all morning. After eating, the two of them demanded I explain myself. Why had I never served such a delicious dish at the table? I wrung my hands and said softly, "Because the dumpling filling is made with chives." Lin Feng was stunned and immediately fell silent. Teacher Shu was also taken aback for a moment. He understood why I had to hide and eat them secretly. After a long while, he finally said, "Eating them occasionally is fine." Upon hearing this, Lin Feng's eyes lit up. He immediately said, "From now on, if you're eating chives, you must call us to eat with you." Just one mention of chives had revealed his childish side. Teacher Shu didn't object, so I had no choice but to nod in agreement. I don't know if it was because the food had softened their hearts or for some other reason, but Lin Feng suggested that I eat together with them, and teacher Shu agreed without hesitation. Teacher Shu was 25 years old, and Lin Feng was 18. Both had kind hearts and good character. Their views on status weren't too rigid, and they didn't look down on me. This made me gradually bolder. They strictly followed do not speak while eating, do not talk while sleeping. But I didn't. I had to talk. Normally, when they read books, I didn't understand anything and couldn't find topics to discuss, so I talked about food instead. Lin Feng was a picky eater and rarely touched vegetables, while teacher Shu was like a herbivore, almost never touching meat. So I spoke about balanced diets, how the body needs harmony between meat and vegetables to stay healthy. I particularly advised teacher Shu on the importance of eating meat. We had been here for less than 2 months, yet teacher Shu had already caught colds 3 times. Each time, he needed several pots of medicine to recover. I thought that if he was like this while young, a severe cold in old age could take his life. Strengthening his immunity was essential, and high-quality protein was needed for the immune system, found in meat, eggs, and milk. For teacher Shu's health, I urged him to eat meat. He didn't object, but his expression didn't look pleased. I didn't understand and turned to look at Lin Feng. Lin Feng said coldly, "Teacher Shu has been vegetarian since he was in his mother's womb. From childhood to adulthood, he has never eaten meat. But I had always fried vegetables with meat for him," I exclaimed in shock. Teacher Shu looked stern on the outside, but he was actually a very tolerant person. I realized that to avoid troubling me, he had never asked me to cook separately and had always eaten whatever Lin Feng ate. Lin Feng ate meat, so he ate the stir-fried vegetables with meat. A surge of emotion rose in my heart. This was the second person who had treated me so kindly since I transmigrated here. I sincerely bowed my head and apologized to Teacher Shu. He simply waved his hand. It's fine. Stir-fried vegetables with meat are still edible. I was grateful to him, but even more worried. Teacher Shu, people need to eat meat. Without meat, the body won't be strong. Even a light breeze could make you ill. Teacher Shu frowned. I continued, but it doesn't have to be meat. Tofu can be a substitute. Tofu can also provide nutrition for the body. Tofu. Teacher Shu's frown deepened. Lin Feng explained that Teacher Shu disliked tofu because it was coarse and had a distinctive smell. He paused, then added, unless it's the tofu made by Mama Chen from the Lin residence. Perhaps then the teacher might eat it. I immediately gave Lin Feng an encouraging look with fiery eyes. Go on, keep talking. Lin Feng suddenly understood. He was trying to kill two birds with one stone, solving Teacher Shu's nutrition problem while resolving my lonely situation. All he needed to do was bring Mama Chen from the Lin residence here. He knew I meant well and that I had my own plans. Lin Feng stared at me for a long time, his eyes flickering between goodwill and reluctance. But after weighing it, he finally spoke to Madame Lin's. Please send Mama Chen over. Madame Lin immediately agreed. After I left, Mama Chen had to handle both the fires and the cooking, causing the dishes to drop significantly in both temperature and flavor. Madame Lin had been considering reassigning her anyway. As soon as Lin Feng spoke up, she agreed at once. Mama Chen was overjoyed. That evening, she packed her belongings and took a carriage from the Lin residence to the Shu residence. That night, Mama Chen and I shared a room. Technically, as a bed warmer, I should have stayed with Lin Feng. He slept in the inner room, and I in the outer room, so I could attend to him whenever needed, but Lin Feng didn't like me much. After arriving at the Shu residence, I had proactively chosen a room right next to his. He nodded and accepted my sensibility. Seeing that we slept separately, Mama Chen looked a bit disappointed at first, but she soon brightened up when she saw me. I scooped water for her to wash her face. She touched my face, her eyes misty. Have you not been eating enough? I acted spoiled. Of course. Without Mama, I don't even have roasted sweet potatoes to eat. Mama Chen immediately opened her luggage bundle and several sweet potatoes rolled out onto the floor. She said, the sweet potatoes from the Lin residence are the most fragrant when roasted. No matter how you roast them outside, they can't compare. Exactly. I've roasted some here a few times, but the taste just isn't right. It has to be the ones from the Lin residence. Luckily, before leaving, I grabbed a bunch and brought them for you. I smiled sweetly. It's not just the sweet potatoes from the Lin residence, they only taste right when Mama roasts them. Mama Chen beamed like a flower. You and your sweet mouth, always flattering me. The two of us laughed and chatted happily. There were 2 beds in the room. Mama Chen slept on the inner one, and I on the outer. Before sleeping, I crawled into Mama Chen's bed and snuggled up to her. She didn't mind at all and even told me the news she had gathered. She said, actually, Huayan is very satisfied with you. She says you're truly gentle and honest. She didn't misjudge you. Then she asked, do you know Teacher Shu's background? I replied, young Master Lin said he was the top scholar of the previous examination. He didn't want to serve as an official, so he returned home to become a teacher. Is that all? I nodded. Mama Chen sighed. Why are you still so naive? He's your master, after all. Why don't you learn more about him? I asked Mama to tell me if she knew more. Mama Chen looked pleased. She had been waiting for me to beg her. Just like my mother in my previous life, she loved being praised by me. She happily told me the story. Xu Pingshan was not only exceptionally talented in literature but also as handsome as Pan An. Back then, during the palace examination, his fluent responses astonished the court. The 4th princess secretly went to watch and fell in love at first sight. She immediately asked the emperor to grant her a marriage. The emperor said, Xu Pingshan is already over 20. He probably already has a wife and children at home. Ask him clearly first. The 4th princess personally went to meet Xu Pingshan and stated her intentions directly. Because Shu Pingshan often fell ill, Madame Shu worried that he was too frail and feared other women might scheme against him, so she hadn't arranged a marriage for him yet. This condition suited the princess perfectly, but Shu Pingshan did not like the fourth princess. If he didn't, he could have simply claimed he was already betrothed, and the princess wouldn't have made things difficult for him. However, he refused to lie and bluntly rejected her, saying he did not wish to become a royal son-in-law. This angered the fourth princess. Normally, the top scholar would be appointed to the Hanlin Academy, but the fourth princess used some tricks to have Shu Pingshan assigned to the Ministry of Justice. Not only did he have to organize case files, he also had to participate in interrogating prisoners. He had only interrogated 2 people before falling ill. Why? I asked in surprise. Mama Chen continued, there were all kinds of torture devices in that place. Prisoners would walk in looking perfectly normal, but when they came out, they were a bloody, mangled mess, no longer resembling a human being at all. Just hearing about it made my hair stand on end. Mama Chen went on. Shu Pingshan was a scholar who had spent his whole life buried in books. How could he possibly endure a sight like that? That day he came down with a raging fever. Afterward he worried constantly, and every night he was tormented by nightmares. After just a few days he couldn't bear it anymore and wrote a memorial begging for a different post. The court answered, every position is already filled, the only opening left is this one. If you don't want it, you may resign from office. Someone warned him, if you have no powerful backers, leave quickly. The fourth princess will never let you live in peace. Shu Pingshan thought it over and finally used his frail health as an excuse to resign and return to his hometown. Did he truly not want to become a royal son-in-law? Was the fourth princess not beautiful? How could she not be? The emperor has 14 daughters, and the fourth princess is the most beautiful of them all. So why refuse? The court even allows royal sons-in-law to hold official posts. It wouldn't have harmed his future at all. Mama Chen shot me a glance. You really are pure-hearted. Do you know the fourth princess has kept male favorites since she was 13? If Teacher Shu had agreed to become her son-in-law, he would have had to share her with 4 other men. Oh, that would never do. There would have been no dignity left for a man whatsoever. In my mind I thought that Shu Pingshan probably found the whole idea repulsive. He was extremely fastidious about cleanliness. His room was always spotless and orderly. Cleaning it was effortless for me. After she finished telling me about Shu Pingshan, Mama Chen asked, how does young Master Lin Feng treat you? I thought for a moment before answering, very well. She pressed, how well exactly? He doesn't hit or scold me, he gives me silver to spend as I please, and he even lets me eat at the same table with them. Mama Chen said, any master with a kind heart will treat trustworthy servants well. Besides those things, is there anything else? He allows me to read storybooks. In the evenings when he reviews his lessons, I sit behind him reading storybooks too. Mama Chen asked impatiently, straight to the point, has he never called you to serve him in bed? Only then did I realize what she was truly worried about. I grinned. No, he doesn't even look at me that way. Mama Chen was stunned. Aren't you upset? Why should I be upset? Isn't it better to simply be an ordinary maidservant? Mama Chen sighed. It's my fault for not knowing how to seize opportunities. I lowered my eyes and quietly went to sleep. Mama Chen's warmth made me sleep deeply. As I drifted off, I thought, so Teacher Shu is actually a generous but timid person after all. Ever since Mama Chen arrived, the 2 of us worked together in the kitchen, turning out meals faster and even more delicious. Lin Feng and Teacher Shu only ate 2 main meals a day and never snacked, so we had plenty of spare time. Mama Chen began taking over my flock of chickens and my vegetable garden. Before long the chickens belonged to her, and the vegetable garden did too. I asked Teacher Shu, Teacher, may I enter the study pavilion in the residence? He asked, you know how to read? I nodded. He looked at me for a moment, then handed me the key. I want to see if any ancient texts record information about illnesses. Some traditional remedies are very useful. If I ever transmigrate back, they might help a lot of people. After all, Tu Yuya once discovered a malaria cure in ancient medical books. The study pavilion in the Shu residence was quite large and packed with countless volumes. It took me some time to find the books I needed. Teacher Shu not only let me inside but also allowed me to read them. With only one rule: I could not take any books out of the pavilion. I sat down cross-legged, opened a volume, and was quickly drawn into its contents. Many childhood illnesses were recorded in detail. Before I transmigrated, my goal had been to become a renowned pediatrician. Seeing these records, I couldn't tear my eyes away. One section described symptoms remarkably similar to autism. So even in ancient times, autism had already been recognized. The writing in the books was quite archaic, so I read very slowly. The text also mentioned certain foods that could improve the condition. I quietly memorized them. Before I realized it, the sky had grown dark. The door opened and Teacher Shu walked in. I hurriedly stood and bowed to him. He glanced at the title of the book and asked, "Medical texts. Can you understand them?" I answered, "They're a bit difficult. I have to think carefully." He asked again, "Do you know medicine?" I offered the excuse I had prepared for reading medical books. But Mama Chen had said, "Eating in moderation leads to fewer illnesses, so I want to find some nourishing recipes." He nodded in understanding. From then on I often encountered Teacher Shu in the study pavilion. Sometimes he came alone, sometimes he brought Lin Feng. After the little prank I had pulled on Lin Feng before, he had been cold toward me for a while. He no longer called me to sit behind him during his evening studies. I had plenty of leisure time, which felt wonderfully free. The first time Lin Feng saw me inside the study pavilion, he paused in surprise, then gave a mocking smile. "Not reading storybooks anymore. Moving on to high-level medical texts now, are we?" I replied, "Young master, I don't consider storybooks any less valuable than medical texts." "What?" Lin Feng hadn't expected me to talk back. I continued calmly, "Storybooks can relieve worries and dispel pent-up frustrations, just as medical texts can strengthen the body. The only difference is that medical texts strengthen the physical body, while storybooks fortify the spirit." Lin Feng's mouth hung open. He couldn't find any words to refute me. Teacher Shu smiled and said, "I didn't expect Miss Chen Wei to have such profound insights." My face flushed red. No matter the era, praise always made one lose control of their body for a moment. That evening, while I was learning to sew with Mama Chen, Lin Feng knocked on the door and called me to grind ink for him. I was momentarily stunned. Mama Chen gave me a push. I set the scissors down, stood up, and followed him. Lin Feng didn't make things difficult for me. He simply asked if there were any storybooks that could cure headaches. He told me that ever since he turned 15 he had been tormented by headaches. The more important the matter, the worse the pain became, especially during the imperial examinations. The pain would start before he even entered the examination hall, and only end after the test was finished. Another examination period was approaching, and his head had started hurting again these past 2 days. I said there were no storybooks for headaches, but there was a method I had once read about in an ancient text. May I try it? Back in high school, the pressure had been so overwhelming that I suffered from severe neuralgia. At the time I hadn't known to see a doctor and simply gritted my teeth through it. Later, after studying medicine, I learned there were many ways to relieve pain. Lin Feng hesitated for a moment before saying, "Go ahead." I moved behind him, placed both hands on either side of his head, and began massaging. Since I had learned the technique to treat myself, every movement was highly professional. Very quickly, Lin Feng's expression gradually relaxed. He let out a long sigh and said slowly, "It really works. The pain is much better now." I said, "But this is only temporary." He asked, "Is there a way to cure it completely?" I replied, "Don't take the imperial examinations too seriously." He froze, his voice turning cold at once. "What did you say?" Perhaps my words were too blunt, but I had no intention of taking them back. The truth was simple: even if Lin Feng never passed the examinations, as long as he held on to the family estate he could live a comfortable life. He had many other paths open to him. Lin Feng disagreed. He said, "My mother, Madame Kui, and Kui Wan are all hope I will pass and gain official rank and power. The Lin family is wealthy, but no one in the family holds office. Without officials to protect us, the family business will be hard to sustain." "Fair enough." I fell silent. He said, "Come massage me again tomorrow until the examinations are over." I answered, "Yes." I was his maidservant, this was my duty. After Mama Chen came to the Shu residence, she adapted very quickly. Both young masters treated her with great respect. The tofu dishes she made were soft and fragrant, perfectly suited to Shu Pingshan's taste. His health gradually improved. As for Lin Feng, because I had helped relieve his headaches, his fondness extended to everything connected to me, treating Mama Chen, whom I regarded as my mother, with even greater respect. Mama Chen's presence in the Shu residence grew larger and larger, to the point that she picked up another ragged child from the streets, just like when she had begged the old madam of the Lin family to take me in. This time she went straight to Shu Pingshan. The Shu residents could easily afford one more mouth to feed, so teacher Shu agreed immediately. The child looked about 4 or 5 years old. Mama Chen and I bathed him together, revealing a delicate, handsome little face. Mama Chen spent the whole night altering one of my old childhood coats, which fit the boy perfectly. She said regretfully, "I had planned to keep it as a memento, but now I've given it to Chen Mai to wear." She named the boy Chen Wei. I said, "As long as you kept me." I was already deeply touched. "Now that you can give Chen Mai a set of clothes to keep out the cold, I'm overjoyed." Chen Mai didn't speak. Mama Chen asked suspiciously, "Could he be mute?" I said, "No." Because whenever he heard sudden noises, Chen Mei would tremble. 9 out of 10 mutes were also deaf, but since Chen Mei could hear sounds, he probably wasn't mute. Mama Chen and I didn't force him to speak. Mama Chen took him to feed the chickens and water the vegetable garden. The two of them got along wonderfully. Under Mama Chen's loving care, Chen Mai was gradually becoming a second version of me. She always kept him by her side. Today Mama Chen said, "Why, do you think there's something wrong with Chen Mai?" I asked her what was happening. She said, "Whenever teacher Shu lectures Lin Feng, Chen Mai gets so scared he trembles all over, his nose wrinkles, his eyes blink rapidly, and he makes these little humming sounds." Hearing that, I immediately guessed it was likely anxiety. I said, "Can you let me take care of him for a few days? I want to try raising him according to the methods recorded in the ancient texts. I have experience with this." Mama Chen agreed. She said, "Then for the next few days I'll handle the kitchen. You spend more time with him and make sure he doesn't turn into an abnormal child." I took Chen Mai to the study pavilion where I read books. He sat quietly beside me. I asked if he wanted me to read to him. His eyes blinked a few times, then he nodded. I picked up an ancient text and told him the story of the ugly duckling. He listened intently, and his face stopped twitching. I took him to the garden and showed him how to dig a small hole. He dug with great focus. I dug a small channel to let water flow into the hole until it was full. Chen Mai looked up at me and broke into a happy smile. I took him to tend the fire with Mama Chen and roast sweet potatoes. I taught him how to peel them. The moment the hot sweet potato entered his mouth, his eyes lit up. In the evening I took Chen Mai to see Lin Feng. I had already warned Lin Feng beforehand not to scare the child. He agreed. In front of Lin Feng, I looked less and less like a maid servant, and he looked less and less like a master. When Chen Mai saw Lin Feng, he was a little frightened at first, but seeing that he had no ill intentions, he calmed down. He sat obediently and quietly watched me massage Lin Feng's head. The frequency of Lin Feng's headaches decreased more and more. He said, "Chen Wei, I've thought carefully about what you said. Whether I take the imperial examinations seriously or not, the examinations remain the examinations. They aren't affected by my thoughts, but my own mindset is greatly influenced by them. Once I stopped placing so much weight on it, the headaches lessened considerably." I said, "That's right. You should still study as needed, but you have to let go in your heart." Lin Feng stared at me. I asked, "Is there something on my face?" He shook his head and said, "You." He couldn't find the right words and suddenly became flustered. I helped him out. "Are you trying to say that I'm not a beauty, but I'm quite pleasing to the eye?" I knew he wanted to praise me for being smart and insightful, but I would rather he compliment my looks than my mind. In this world, calling a maidservant smart wasn't necessarily a good thing. His eyes brightened. He refused to let me change the subject, and I started to feel uneasy. Just as I was getting flustered, Chen Mai suddenly walked over, tugged my hand, and said, "Let's go." Chen Mei could speak. I was utterly shocked. Luckily the massage was already finished. I immediately took my leave from Lin Feng, picked up Chen Mai, and ran to find Mama Chen. Chen Mai could speak. This was wonderful news. Under the encouragement of Mama Chen and me, Chen Wei began to talk more. With loving care and nurturing, children recovered very quickly. I didn't know what traumas he had suffered before, but he was gradually getting better. Mama Chen was overjoyed. She said, "The older you get, the more blessings you accumulate. Not only do I have you now, but I also have Chen Wei." Chen Wei was just like me at 10 years old, always snuggling into Mama Chen's arms. I was very patient with him, so he often sought me out as well. Lin Feng treated Chen Wei very gently, and teacher Shu, though busy to the point of exhaustion every day explaining examination questions to Lin Feng, still made time to chat with him whenever he saw Chen Wei. Thanks to an environment full of acceptance and love, Chen Wei became more lively every day. On the day Lin Feng set off for the examinations, he kept repeating, do well, making everyone burst into laughter. Mama Chen said that children only speak auspicious words. Lin Feng entered the examination hall, while teacher Shu stayed behind in the residence, pacing back and forth anxiously. Chen Wei saw this and pulled him over to find me. At the time I was sitting in the study pavilion, deeply focused on reading. Teacher Shu, influenced by the atmosphere, also picked up a book to read, while Chen Wei sat beside us, munching on roasted corn and watching us. After he finished eating, he looked up and asked me, "Big Sister Wei, tell the ugly duckling story again." I patted his head and nodded in agreement. Teacher Shu listened quietly as well. By the time the story ended, Chen Wei had fallen fast asleep. Teacher Shu carried him back. After handing him over to Mama Chen, he suddenly asked me, "Chen Wei, would you take a walk with me for a bit?" I glanced at Mama Chen. She nodded. This was the first time I had been alone with Teacher Shu in the evening. He led me around the lotus pond. On the second lap he spoke up. "Chen Wei, tell me, before the ugly duckling turned into a swan, did it ever feel utterly hopeless time and again? Did it ever think it wasn't worth living?" His voice trembled slightly. If Mama Chen hadn't told me the story beforehand, I would have definitely thought he had some mental illness. But since I already knew, I wasn't surprised at all. Teacher Shu had been frail since childhood. Although his mother loved him dearly, he had always carried deep self-loathing in his heart. People like that usually desperately wanted to prove themselves. He had passed the imperial examinations as the top scholar, thinking he could finally display his talents. But then he encountered that incident. Without any chance to fight back, he was beaten back to square one. Carrying that resentment, he returned to his hometown to become a teacher. By constantly telling himself that this was all his life could be, he had numbed himself. The ugly duckling story had struck a chord with him. I said, "Teacher Shu, don't lose heart. You were forced to resign from office. It wasn't your fault." He looked at me in astonishment. "You've already heard my story." Then he sighed. "Of course. Who doesn't know about it?" Immediately after, he seized on the key point. "Do you think it wasn't my fault?" He had hated himself for far too long and desperately craved a different answer. In my eyes, his experience was no different from that of a young master from a wealthy family who had been overly sheltered. The first time he stepped into the real world, he was crushed. In truth, many people had similar experiences. Even a top medical school graduate like me, without any backing, would only face suppression upon entering society. Moreover, he had caught the eye of a princess. No matter how terrible she was, it wasn't his place to look down on her. The Shu family was a prestigious clan, but in the capital, they were nothing special. Not to mention that the person he had offended was royalty. Daring to reject her outright naturally made him the one in the wrong, but this still wasn't enough to call it a dead end. The fourth princess, as despicable as she was, hadn't pursued him to the bitter end. She had simply driven him back to the countryside. That meant he still had a chance to rise again. As long as he regained his confidence and saw through the nature of the problem, with his talent, the next time he simply needed to avoid the fourth princess and encounter another princess or noble lady of comparable status instead, he would definitely soar like a kite in the wind. Besides, life wasn't over just because you encountered failure. You had to spot the opportunities for change and seize the light in life. Just like me. From a top medical student to a little beggar who nearly starved to death, but I had seized Mama Chen's kindness, and now wasn't I living quite well? As long as you held firm to your will, life would always have a way forward. Of course, seeing how tormented he already was, I couldn't add any more blame. I had to give him hope. So I said, Teacher Shu, you simply had a streak of bad luck before, but fortune can turn around. Just because today isn't good doesn't mean tomorrow will be the same. He shook his head. Even if things improve, it's too late. My reputation is ruined, and my future is over. I replied, don't say that. You're only 25. You still have a long road ahead. He smiled bitterly. My life is finished. Teacher, ups and downs are the norm in life. You can't accept the highs but not the lows. What you need to do is hold steady when you hit rock bottom. Not only give yourself hope, but also chart a path forward. At this moment he was surely feeling completely lost and desperately hoping for a lifeline. Sure enough, he repeated my words. Hold steady. I nodded. That's right. Don't let yourself sink any deeper. He fell into thought. Seeing that it was getting late, and I didn't want to stay up freezing, I decided to wrap it up. First, the positive side: take care of your body, train your spirit, and become a dashing and elegant young master. When the opportunity comes, all it will take is a favorable wind, and you'll be able to soar. Then, the negative side: if you give up, your spirit collapses and your body weakens. Anyone who looks at you will only see a sickly invalid. Who would want to support someone like that? He coughed a few times, pretending to clear his throat. I grew bolder. Mama Chen said you're as handsome as Pan An. Forgive my poor eyesight, but I really couldn't see it. If one day you restore your radiant appearance, your destiny will surely change as well. Actually, I wasn't sure if his fate would change, but if he regained his looks and added his talent on top, even if he didn't become an official, he himself would feel much happier, right? This time I had spoken quite a bit, and quite deeply. He stared at me, his expression full of doubt and curiosity. How do you know so much? Aren't you just a stove tending maid from the Lin residence? I immediately deployed the excuse I had prepared. I'm not an ordinary maidservant. I'm a maidservant who knows how to keep herself occupied. In the Lin residence there were many books that weren't needed. Mama Chen used them as kindling. Before burning them, she always let me read them first. Those books contained all sorts of knowledge. He was astonished. So that's how it is. Then what books did you read? Why have I never heard the things you say? Folk tales. All kinds of folk tales. His eyes widened in disbelief. Impossible. The great Confucian scholars would never write such things. I cut him off. Teacher Shu, have you never heard the saying? Under his scrutinizing gaze I slowly spoke the words. True masters are found among the common people. His face instantly stiffened. I suddenly felt incredibly refreshed. Those who looked down on folk tales deserved to taste a bit of defeat. Teacher Shu was a good person. He didn't look down on me and was willing to accept Mama Chen and Chen Wei. But at his core he was very proud. When Lin Feng had free time after classes, he would often come to my little vegetable garden to check on the plants. Teacher Shu had almost never set foot there before, but now he had joined us. Excessive physical labor could shorten one's lifespan, but moderate work helped temper the body. Ever since our conversation he had changed noticeably. In addition to continuing to eat tofu for nourishment, he had started coming out to the garden with us to do manual labor. Mama Chen looked at him as if he were some kind of monster. When Lin Feng returned from the examination hall and saw Teacher Shu bent over pulling weeds, he stood frozen in place. But Teacher Shu was much more composed. I asked Lin Feng, how did the examinations go? He looked at me and replied, better than before. I didn't have a headache this time. Mama Chen hurriedly chanted, Amitabha Buddha. Chen Wei spun around in delight. The scene truly felt like a family. That evening I went to make the bed for Lin Feng. He watched me silently. Once I finished, I turned to leave. He grabbed my sleeve and stopped me. Chen Wei, there's no need to go. I looked at him in confusion, raising my eyebrows. He lowered his eyes and said softly, you are my bed warmer. He didn't say more, but the implication was clear. He wanted me to stay. I said, young master, please don't harm me. If I stay, I'll never be able to leave again. You know I need this job. Madam still hasn't agreed to let Mama Chen leave the residence. He was stunned, then turned his head away without saying anything else. The next day I recounted the incident to Mama Chen. She said, so many maidservants scheme every way they can to climb into their master's bed, and you're his designated bed warmer. Before, when he wouldn't even look at you, that was one thing. Now he's calling for you himself. Why not seize the chance and stay? Mama, I only want to take you and Chen Wei away from here to live good days. There are still over 2 years left until we can do that. By then we won't be servants anymore. We'll be our own masters. Be our own masters. Mama Chen was shocked. She had never thought of it before and hadn't dared to. I said, we'll open a shop. Mama can sell tofu and I'll sell roasted sweet potatoes. If business is too good and we can't handle it alone, we can even go to the government office to buy servants. By then, won't Mama be a master herself? Mama Chen's eyes filled with tears. That's right, Chen Wei and I will be masters, so we can't stay here, and we definitely can't be his bed warmer. The thought had barely crossed her mind before Mama Chen couldn't sit still any longer. She said, Madam clearly doesn't like me, yet she refuses to let me go. Why is that? I don't know either. I only know that even though I could leave at any time, if Mama Chen doesn't come with me, I can't leave either. I won't leave Mama Chen behind alone, especially now that we have Chen Wei too. Staying is necessary. We need to save more silver so that before the shop thrives, we at least have enough money to support the 3 of us. Ever since coming to the Shu residence, my rate of saving had been much faster than in the Lin residence. Lin Feng paid me a salary every month. As long as I managed expenses wisely, all the surplus belonged to me. I was good at budgeting, and before long I had started raising chickens and growing vegetables, saving quite a bit on costs. Lin Feng was quite generous. Serving him for one more day meant one more layer of security for us. It was truly the wisest decision I had made not to truly become Lin Feng's bed warmer. Thanks to that, my purse remained intact. The next day Huayan appeared. She had come to the Shu residence to visit Lin Feng, but the first person she sought out was me. When she arrived, I was teaching Chen Wei how to control the fire while roasting sweet potatoes. The moment I saw her, I jumped, nearly dropping the firewood stick in my hand. The kitchen was full of smoke and dust. I couldn't let this delicate young miss get dirty. After all, both the Shu and Lin families were major households in the area. In terms of wealth the Lin family ranked first, but in terms of official connections the Q family was the highest. Wan's elder brother was a 7th rank official. Although it wasn't a high position, it carried significant weight around here. I stood up to bow, but before I could steady myself she spoke. You're still exactly the same. The first time I met you, your face was covered in grime. The second time, you were still disheveled and messy. You were born from the dust. No wonder brother Lin Feng doesn't look at you. Her words were full of thorns, her tone arrogant. Mama Chen immediately grabbed a large ladle, ready to defend. Chen Wei spread his arms like a mother eagle protecting her chick, shielding me. Huayan paused for a moment. I patted Chen Wei lightly, signaling him not to get tense. Then I bowed respectfully. Miss Kui, may all be well with you. My voice was submissive, my attitude humble. In front of Lin Feng and teacher Shu I could be a bit more relaxed because they weren't overly strict about etiquette. But in front of this great young miss, I didn't dare make the slightest mistake. Mama Chen had also realized Huayan's status by now. She put down the ladle and bowed her head in greeting. Seeing this, Chen Wei obediently lowered his arms and bowed as well. With one old, one young, and one tiny all bowing respectfully to her, Huayan's expression finally softened a little. She waved her sleeve and said, That's enough. You two go about your work. Chen Wei, come with me. Hearing that she wanted me alone, Mama Chen and Chen Wei's faces immediately changed, filled with worry. I reassured them one by one, indicating there was nothing to fear. Only then did they relax somewhat. I followed behind Huayan as we left the kitchen. They really do go all out to protect you. Huayan snorted coldly, full of contempt. I kept my head lowered and said nothing. She walked ahead and I followed quietly. Huayan led me to the pavilion by the lotus pond and sat down, while I stood slightly lower so she could look down at me from above, giving the seated person a sense of superiority. I understood this perfectly. Seeing me obediently lowering my head, her attitude softened considerably. She asked, Do you know that I was the one who chose you to be Lin Feng's bed warmer? I replied, I know. She continued, Then do you know why I chose you? I replied, I don't know. Do you know that Madam Lin doesn't like you? Do you know that Brother Lin Feng thinks you're ugly? She wanted to probe me and provoke me a little, but my expression didn't change at all. I simply answered, I don't know. Huayan was rendered speechless. She asked irritably, Are you an idiot? I stubbornly lifted my head. I'm not an idiot. She curled her lip. Not an idiot. Then tell me, in what way are you not an idiot? I answered immediately. I know how to tend the fire and cook, how to wash and clean, how to raise chickens and grow vegetables, and how to make beds. She stopped. Her face twisted with disgust. I know you're a capable maidservant, but those are just maidservant duties. I blinked in confusion. But I am a maidservant. Huayan looked at me coldly. After staring for a long time, and seeing that I wasn't pretending, she suddenly sighed. I knew you weren't beautiful. But I didn't expect your mind to be so slow either. Never mind. It's better this way. You put my mind at ease. With that, she took a small silver ingot from her sleeve and placed it on the stone table. You know your place very well, so do your duty properly. But I didn't promote you from a stove, tending maid to a bed, warmer just so you could continue being a maidservant. I put on a puzzled expression. If not a maidservant, then what? Seeing my face, she frowned, clearly thinking I was too dense. She looked away and continued, Stop hiding in that kitchen of yours all day. You must stay by Brother Lin Feng's side constantly. Whatever he does, whatever he says, whoever he meets, in short, no matter what happens, you must report it all to me. Ah, so she wanted me to be a spy gathering information on Lin Feng. I thought for a moment and nodded in agreement. She looked surprised. You agree. You're not going to ask why I want you to do this. I replied. You are the young master's fiancé. You want to understand the young master and care for him. The answer was perfectly proper. Not a word more, not a word less. Yet Huayan looked bored and helpless. Fine, that's enough. She pointed at the silver ingot. I'll come once a month. If you do well, I'll reward you with this much each time. I bowed my head in thanks. Huayan stood up, brushed off her skirt lightly, gave me a look full of disdain, and left. The corner of my mouth curled up. I picked up the silver ingot and tucked it away. As soon as it grew dark, Lin Feng called me over. Ever since the examination period ended, he had been constantly by Teacher Shu's side. Teacher Shu believed he would rank very high this time and was guiding him in preparation for the next examination. Except when sleeping, the two of them were practically inseparable day and night, allowing no one to disturb them. Today Huayan had come and wanted to see Lin Feng. At the time Teacher Shu had been lecturing on a commentary, and Lin Feng was listening attentively. Huayan hadn't dared to interrupt and had quietly come and quietly left. She placed great hopes on Lin Feng. As long as he focused on his studies, she would behave obediently like this. I had known Huayan would come today, so I had deliberately asked Teacher Shu to lecture on more commentaries. Lin Feng looked at me and said. I was stunned. He frowned. I didn't want to see her. I didn't want her clinging to me, asking how the examinations went. It's annoying to death. Suddenly I understood. Lin Feng was like a rebellious child who didn't want anyone pressuring him to study. Especially with so many expectations weighing on him, the pressure was too much for him to bear. I nodded. Then don't see her. My reaction surprised him, but he didn't press further. Instead he asked, Did she come looking for you? I nodded. His expression flickered with impatience. What did she want with you? Did she make things difficult for you? I shook my head and recounted everything from beginning to end. After listening, he remained silent for a long time before saying, You really don't hide anything at all. I replied, I know my place clearly. I belong to the young master. He smiled faintly. You belong to me, yet you still accepted her silver. I replied, Miss Kui is the young master's fiancée. Even though you're not married yet, she can be considered part of the young master's household. Husband and wife are one body, so accepting her silver is no different from accepting the young master's silver. He snorted. Sophistry. With that, I wanted to leave. I really wanted to go back to Mama Chen and Chen Wei. Being attacked by these two one after another was too much for me. Seeing the fatigue on my face, a hint of concern flashed in Lin Feng's eyes, but he still wouldn't let it go, pressing on the spy issue. How do you plan to report to Huayan? That's right, this matter can't just be left hanging. What should I say? I thought for a moment and replied. The truth. His face instantly turned as black as ink, and his fists clenched tightly. Hey, don't hit me. I was scared out of my wits and quickly added. Young master, calm down. Listen to everything I have to say first, then decide whether to get angry. I carefully analyzed point by point. What Miss Qi wants most is for the young master to pass the examinations, and what she fears most is that someone else has entered the young master's heart. Here in the Shu residence, there are no women by the young master's side. He spends all day studying with the teacher. That's exactly what Miss Qi wants most. Normally she eats vegetarian meals and chants sutras, worrying about the young master day and night, unable to rest easy. If I report honestly to her, it will make her respect and admire the young master even more. It will ease her worries. This causes no loss to the young master and even helps foster the husband-wife bond between you and Miss Qi. Lin Feng said coldly. So you're doing a good deed, huh? I lowered my head. I am the young master's maidservant. Even though I pass information to Miss Qi, I have never hidden anything from you. In my heart I have always hoped for the young master's well-being and for harmony between you and Miss Qi. His clenched fist loosened. The air grew heavy with silence. After a long while he said, Chen Wei, you keep talking about husband and wife, so where do you place yourself? His voice grew cold, his tone serious. Don't forget, you are my bed warmer. Sooner or later you will be the woman in my chambers. The closest or farthest from me is precisely a husband and wife. I understand your personality and Huayan's clearly. Remember this, the one who can be closest to me is you, and the one who is farthest is me and Huayan. What you need to do isn't to help me get closer to her, but to figure out how to become my person. I froze in place. Seeing me standing there stunned like a wooden block, he waved his hand and dismissed me. I had barely stepped across the threshold when he tossed out one more remark. Think it over carefully. Don't misplace your position, Lin Feng. Lin Feng, who was nearly 19 years old. Lin Feng, who hated eating chives. Lin Feng, whose head ached from stress. Lin Feng, who had given me a way to earn silver from him. He had never been a simple person. My heart trembled. I returned to our shared room on shaky legs. Chen Wei was already asleep, breathing evenly, his soft little body sprawled comfortably beside Mama Chen with arms and legs spread wide. Mama Chen was still waiting for me. I climbed onto the heated bed and rested my head on her thigh. Ever since Chen Wei joined us, we had switched to a larger heated Kang bed, roomy enough for all three of us. I stretched out fully, utterly exhausted. A deep wave of helplessness washed over me. The pressure from Huayan, the scheming from Lin Feng. I realized just how small and insignificant I was in their eyes. These were not only people of high status, they held the fate of lowly creatures like me in their hands. When you crossed paths with them, all you could do was let destiny decide. Talent, ability, self-respect, everything grew paper thin in the face of power. Mama Chen saw how pale my face had become and asked what was wrong. I closed my eyes, rested for a moment, then told her everything. She said nothing. She simply loosened my hair and slowly combed through it with her fingertips, strand by strand. The gentle motion was so soothing that I quickly forgot my troubles and drifted towards sleep. Through a haze I heard Mama Chen murmur, "Tomorrow I'll go see Teacher Shu and ask him to speak to the Lin residents on our behalf. We'll request an early release from the contract. Once the contract is dissolved, we'll leave this place. You won't belong to anyone's chambers anymore. Neither the current Madame Lin nor the future one will be able to control you." I clutched her leg tightly, feeling safe at last, and sank into dreams. The next morning I woke to find Chen Wei standing by the bed, staring at me. He asked, "Big sister, did you sleep well?" I rubbed my eyes and sat up groggily. I had tossed and turned with nightmares, so my sleep had been shallow and I felt a little sluggish. Chen Wei raised both hands high, beaming with pride as he showed off his prize. "Look, big sister, this is a little sweet potato. It got a bit scorched, but it smells really fragrant. Did you roast it yourself?" Seeing how thrilled he looked, like he was presenting me with treasure, I guessed he had done it alone. He nodded vigorously, eyes crinkled in delight. I took it, peeled the skin slowly, and took a bite. A child's heartfelt offering must always be treasured. The soft, hot sweetness spread through my mouth, and warmed my stomach in an instant. I ruffled his hair and smiled. Next time try roasting a bigger one. This little one isn't enough for a proper meal. Encouraged, he answered eagerly. Next time I'll definitely roast a really big one. Just then Mama Chen carried in a bowl of congee. You had nightmares all night and slept late this morning. Here, have some warm congee to settle your stomach. I took the bowl. Mama Chen's congee was the same as always: rice, vegetables, and a bit of meat. The moment it touched my tongue, I could taste its rich aroma. I finished the entire bowl in moments and felt much more alert. Mama Chen's eyes sparkled with excitement. I already spoke with Teacher Shu. He agreed to help us. Tears sprang to my eyes at once. How wonderful. When you were at your lowest, someone stood beside you, offering support and warmth. Mama Chen said gently. Teacher Shu will look for the right moment to speak with the young master. If the young master refuses, he'll go straight to Madame Lin and request your release. She soothed me softly. Don't worry. I nodded. All right. Mama Chen had already prepared breakfast for the two young masters. Seeing that I was fine, she headed out to the garden to pick vegetables. She mentioned that the chives were ready to harvest today and that she planned to make something delicious for Chen Wei and me this evening. The outside world was like a sudden gust of wind, stirring ripples across the calm lake of my heart. Yesterday, just 2 people had come to disturb me, and I had nearly collapsed. I sighed inwardly. This body still isn't strong enough. Today I skipped the study pavilion as usual and went instead to the lotus pond, where I began practicing the 8 brocades. A few days earlier, while flipping through an ancient text, I had stumbled upon this health cultivation method. The 8 brocades could open the meridians, raise yang energy, prevent and treat illness, and strengthen the body's resistance. I decided to practice it faithfully every day from now on. Since the ancient books recorded it, no one would suspect anything. Holding the sky with both hands to regulate the triple burner, drawing the bow left and right like shooting a hawk, massaging the spleen and stomach by single lifts, each mnemonic paired with its movement. I followed the sequence step by step. By the end of one full set I felt refreshed and energized. Youth truly made a difference. One session was enough to chase away the gloom. What are you doing? I turned and saw Teacher Shu. I had no idea how long he had been standing there. I startled. He gestured knowingly toward the pavilion. I was standing up there the whole time. So he had watched the entire routine. I explained. This is the 8 brocades. It strengthens the body. I found it in the study pavilion. He replied. Is that so? Then do it once more and guide me through it. I answered. Of course, I'll go slower this time. After the set I felt invigorated, while he was slightly out of breath. He said, very good, one more time. I stopped him. Teacher, you must progress gradually. Don't rush. He nodded, steadied his breathing, then looked at me. You truly surprise me. I stayed quiet, puzzled. He continued. Mama Chen came to see me. She said you don't want to become Lin Feng's real bed warmer, but he is your master. Why should he care about your wishes? I thought you would be crushed just like I once was. Instead you came out here practicing martial forms, looking majestic and full of spirit. I didn't dare claim to look majestic, but I did feel full of vigor. Teacher Shu's eyes shone with approval, and my face grew warm. I said, Teacher Shu, you are a great scholar and I am only a little maidservant. You can't praise me like that, or I'll get carried away. He laughed heartily. Ever since that night when he had shown me his vulnerable side, a faint awkwardness had lingered between us. How could someone of high status let a lowly person witness his weakness? Yet today, after Mama Chen had approached him, he stood before me with renewed confidence. Ever since Mama Chen arrived at the Shu residence, I had stopped eating at the same table as Lin Feng and Teacher Shu. The two of them knew I relied on her and said nothing about it. After serving them dinner I hurried back to the kitchen. Mama Chen had already finished mixing the filling and the dough was nearly proofed. She planned to make chive buns, but I stopped her. Mama, let me handle it. I'll make something a little different. At the mention of a new dish, Chen Mai's eyes lit up with excitement. Mama Chen let me take over. The two of them watched wide-eyed as I kneaded the dough, divided it into small pieces, rolled out the wrappers, added the filling, and pressed them flat. Soon rows of chive pancakes were ready. Next I let Chen Mai tend the fire while Mama Chen roasted them. The fragrant aroma filled the room. We ended up with 8 pancakes. We set out a small table, arranged the plates, and each took a pair of chopsticks and a bowl. The moment we bit in, Chen Wei's eyes sparkled. He ate like a starving wolf. I quickly reminded him to slow down. There was plenty more, and promised to make them again later. Only then did he chew more carefully, though his gaze never left the plate. Mama Chen praised them as delicious but, being older, didn't dare eat too many at night. She stopped after 2. I ate only 2 as well. The strong chive smell might bother Lin Feng if he called for me later. Chen Wei managed 3. When he was full he set his bowl down, but 1 pancake still remained on the plate. He couldn't eat another bite yet he stared at it longingly. Mama Chen chuckled. Save that one for tomorrow morning. Only then did Chen Wei reluctantly leave the kitchen to play in the yard for a while. Mama Chen and I began cleaning up, preparing to end the day. The bowls and chopsticks weren't even washed when Chen Wei came running back. I teased him with a smile, still thinking about it. We'll keep it for you. Before I could finish speaking, my smile froze. Teacher Shu and Lin Feng were right behind him. Chen Wei pointed at the last pancake and announced, "This is called a chive pancake." Lin Feng shot me a glare. Teacher Shu's expression wasn't much friendlier. Lin Feng picked up the pancake, broke it in half, and handed 1 piece to Teacher Shu. The 2 of them began eating. After swallowing the final bite, neither looked satisfied. Mama Chen and I stared in shock. Chen Wei's lips trembled, tears welling up. Teacher Shu, young Master Lin, you said you were only going to look. Why did you eat it all? Teacher Shu bent down to comfort him. Tomorrow I'll ask Mama Chen to make more for you, all right? Chen Wei fought back his tears and nodded. Okay. Lin Feng turned to me. From now on, every dish that contains chives, whether it's the dumplings from before, today's chive pancakes, or anything else, must be shared with Teacher Shu and me. I nodded hastily. After they left, Mama Chen muttered. In the old days the old master only ate chives when he wanted to visit a concubine. The young master is in the middle of crucial studies. Can he really eat chives? I replied. Next time we'll eat them in our own room. They won't come to our quarters and they won't notice. I reminded Chen Wei again that if he wanted chives in the future, he must stay far away from Teacher Shu and young Master Lin. Chen Wei's eyes glistened as he nodded. Once was lesson enough. Ever since Teacher Shu and Lin Feng became afraid, we would secretly eat chives behind their backs. They insisted that the 3 of us join them for every meal. At first Mama Chen felt awkward, but it soon became habit. Chen Wei was extreme when it came to food. He ate very little of anything he disliked, but once he liked something he could never get enough. Mama Chen always helped him with difficult items like fish. I looked after him too, rolling up his sleeves and picking out the best pieces for him. Yet whenever Chen Wei found a dish he loved, his first bite went to himself. The second always went to Mama Chen, and the third to me. The 3 of us leaned on one another and loved one another. The 2 men across the table watched in stunned silence. I didn't know how wealthy families usually ate, but I was certain it wasn't like this. At first they were astonished, then moved, and finally they couldn't resist joining in. Teacher Shu moved the dishes Chen Wei liked closest to him. Lin Feng swapped the plates in front of him with those nearest Mama Chen and me, making sure we could reach everything. Before long the 5 of us felt exactly like one family. Warm, harmonious, and happy. I talked the most. Chen Wei loved chatting while eating. Mama Chen spoke up now and then. Lin Feng and Teacher Shu said little but enjoyed listening to us. That day Chen Wei sighed that there were so many delicious dishes, yet nothing beat Big Sister's roasted sweet potatoes. Mama Chen laughed. You roast them pretty well yourself. You just haven't quite mastered the fire yet. Her casual words were heard with intent. After dinner Lin Feng ordered me to roast a few sweet potatoes for a late-night snack. Once they were done, each of us took one and ate with satisfied smiles. The relaxed atmosphere brought out more conversation. Teacher Shu asked Chen Wei, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" Chen Wei answered, "Anything is fine, as long as I can always stay with Mama Chen and Big Sister." Teacher Shu looked slightly surprised. Lin Feng asked, "But your big sister will get married someday, and when you grow up you'll take a wife and have children. How can you stay together forever?" Chen Wei thought for a moment, then said, "Then let big sister wait until I'm grown up. When I'm big, I'll marry big sister. That way both of us can stay with Mama Chen. Mama Chen burst out laughing. Big sister is almost 16 already. You're still too young. It won't work. Lin Feng snorted coldly. Keep dreaming. Teacher Shu, however, noticed how quick-witted Chen Wei was and asked if he wanted to study. Chen Wei shook his head. I quickly pressed his head down in a nod. Such a golden opportunity. How could we let it slip? Teacher Shu agreed to set aside a little time each day to teach Chen Wei and told Mama Chen there would be no charge. Mama Chen was overjoyed. She pulled Chen Wei down to kowtow in thanks. Teacher Shu turned to me. What about you? Do you have any wishes? He wasn't asking out of mere curiosity, he was asking for Lin Feng to hear. Lin Feng sat up straighter, listening intently. I answered. The same as Chen Wei. Chen Wei immediately turned to me, eyes shining. But then I realized I was already grown and couldn't settle for such a simple dream, so I added more. I hope for a peaceful paradise where the elderly have a place to rest, children have care, and everyone lives happily together. Teacher Shu was momentarily stunned, then said, That's a very fine thought. Lin Feng snorted again. Even your dreams are ambitious. Chen Wei declared with utmost seriousness. I will definitely help big sister realize her dream. The whole table erupted in laughter. For a while the five of us enjoyed an incredibly harmonious and happy period. During those days there were no masters or servants, only roles, those who studied, those who cooked, those who grew. Every month Huayan came once. I always reported honestly. Young Master Lin is discussing lessons with Teacher Shu. Young Master Lin is writing the essays Teacher Shu assigned. Young Master Lin is listening to Teacher Shu's lectures. Month after month it was the same. Huayan grew bored. As for Lin Feng's personal preferences, what he liked to eat, wear, or read, or when he was most easily irritated, she listened but paid little attention. She only cared whether any woman had appeared beside Lin Feng and whether he had ever mentioned her. I realized Huayan didn't truly love Lin Feng. What she needed was for Lin Feng to love her. She wanted one-sided devotion and demanded that the other person run toward her. Mama Chen said, a person like her can never tolerate anyone else stepping in. We cannot live under her thumb. I replied. But Madam Lin isn't so bad either. Mama Chen curled her lip. I fell silent. With Teacher Shu's permission, Mama Chen and I expanded the vegetable garden a little more. Each time Huayan arrived and failed to find me beside Lin Feng, she would come to the garden or the kitchen. She scolded me for not staying close to him, yet when she saw I kept a proper distance she seemed satisfied. Lin Feng passed the examinations. The Lin residents erupted in celebration. Madam Lin immediately sent people to bring Lin Feng home for a feast. Teacher Shu was invited along as well. Pride and joy shone on his face. Outside, everyone gossiped that young Master Lin had failed several times, yet the moment he took Teacher Shu as his master he passed on his first try. Teacher Shu truly was a famous teacher, and Lin Feng was living proof. Several noble families in the city wanted to send their sons to study under him, but Teacher Shu refused them all. He said he wanted to devote every ounce of his energy to helping Lin Feng advance one more step. This only spread his reputation further. He intended to make Lin Feng his greatest success story. I was happy for them and said to Mama Chen, the young master passed. Do you think Madam Lin might be so overjoyed that she'll let us go? Mama Chen shook her head. Not a chance. Madam is the most superstitious of all. Now that the young master has passed, she'll believe the feng shui here is excellent. Servants with thick blessings, like you, me, and even Chen Wei, are all lucky charms. She won't touch any of us. She pointed at the courtyard where we lived. She won't even let anyone change the layout here. Then she frowned, worry clouding her eyes. I wonder if the young master has been influenced by his mother and thinks the same. If so, it will be even harder for us to leave. I wrapped my arms around her shoulders to comfort her. Mama, we will definitely open our own shop. Do you believe me? Mama Chen looked at me and said firmly, I believe you. Ever since the day I picked you up from the street, life has been different. Better and better. Fuller of hope every day. But then she sighed. I'm only afraid the young master will use me to pressure you. Her intuition was spot on. Before we set out, Lin Feng demanded that I come with him. I refused. He looked at me and said slowly, Chen Wei, come home with me. I don't like tofu, but I could eat Mama Chen's tofu for the rest of my life. He was truly using Mama Chen to threaten me, but he didn't know that Madame Lin had already agreed to let Mama Chen leave after 3 years. I wasn't afraid of him. I was only afraid Madame Lin would change her mind. Given how much she doted on her son, if Lin Feng made a fuss, she might very well keep us here forever. There was no other choice. I had to change tactics. Since he didn't want me to leave his side, I would let him choose temporary distance or permanent distance. So I said frankly, "Young master, Madam doesn't like me. On such a joyous day, if you bring me along and she gets angry and throws me out of the residence, I would have no choice but to leave the Lin family for good." Impossible. Lin Feng panicked, but then he fell silent. He knew his mother's temperament well. She liked beauty, sweet words, foolishness, or wealth and status. I possessed none of those. He looked at me and said, "You should learn from the other girls outside and dress up a little." After thinking it over for a long time, he finally allowed me to stay, but he added, "Don't wander off." I was stunned. "Young master, when have I ever wandered off?" He snorted. "In general, don't wander off." He stood there refusing to leave. I grew impatient and nodded hastily just to get rid of him. Only then did he depart the Shu residence. I thought Lin Feng would be gone for at least 7 days, but that very evening he returned. And he brought Huayan with him. Her entire body was covered in blood, her face dazed. I was so startled I nearly dropped the firewood stick in my hand. Mama Chen's face went deathly pale. Chen Wei hid behind her, trembling and refusing to peek out. Teacher Shu quickly arranged a separate courtyard for Huayan, far from Lin Feng's quarters. He told Mama Chen to go help settle her. I intended to go along, but he kept me behind. Teacher Shu, looking worried, went to assist instead. In the room only Lin Feng and I remained. Lin Feng looked utterly exhausted. He leaned back in his chair, rubbing his forehead. "My head hurts again. Massage it for me." The weather had turned cold. I rubbed my palms together to warm them, then began pressing his temples. I kept going until my own hands went numb before his expression finally relaxed. He let out a soft sigh and began to explain. After Madame Kui's sudden death, Huayan had poured all her attention onto Lin Feng and completely forgotten her father. Old Master Q had not remarried, but half a year after the mourning period ended, he flung open the doors to his chambers. He welcomed any maidservant who wanted to climb into his bed. A master sleeping with a maidservant was nothing remarkable, but one clever maidservant managed to get pregnant. Old Master Q was overjoyed. In his entire life he had only 1 wife and 3 concubines, and children were extremely rare. After a lifetime of effort he had only 2 offspring, Huayan and her elder brother, both born to his late wife. Now, in his old age he had another child. How could he not be thrilled? Fearing his daughter would disapprove, he kept the matter hidden. By the time Huayan discovered it, it was too late to deal with quietly. In a fit of rage she ordered the pregnant maidservant thrown into the lotus pond to sink or swim. But the maidservant was lucky. Old Master Kui happened to be passing by at that moment, and immediately called for help. They saved her life, but the child in her womb could not be saved. It had been a baby boy. Old Master Q cradled the tiny purple corpse and roared in fury, demanding that Huayan be punished according to family law. The Q family's family law called for 50 lashes. 50 lashes would certainly kill or cripple her. Huayan was so terrified she fled the house and took refuge at the Lin residence. At that moment the Lin residence was in the middle of a grand celebration feast. Madame Lin was overjoyed. Taking advantage of the festive mood, she announced in front of everyone that today she would officially take Tao and Lan as Lin Feng's concubines. These were the 2 bed warmers Madame Lin had originally chosen for her son. Because Huayan had objected, the plan had been postponed. But now that Lin Feng had passed the examinations, his status was no longer the same. Madame Lin no longer cared about Huayan's opinion and granted the 2 girls their titles on the spot. Lin Feng was stunned but did not object. Right at that moment Huayan burst in and witnessed the entire scene. She went mad on the spot. She ripped the hairpin from her head and charged straight into the banquet. In front of all the guests she tore at Lanner's face. Tower tried to flee in terror, but Huayan grabbed her, yanked her back, and stabbed the hairpin toward her eye. Madame Lin, standing right beside them, instinctively reached out to block it. The hairpin missed and pierced the corner of Tao's eye instead. Blood poured down. Huayan didn't even glance to see whom she had pushed. She simply swung her arm and shoved hard. Madame Lin fell to the ground and fainted on the spot. Seeing her unconscious, Huayan grew even bolder. She screamed at the top of her lungs in front of everyone. Madame Lin, you are a liar. When my mother was alive you said you treated me like your own daughter. You promised that Lin Feng would have only me. The moment my mother died you chose bed warmers for him. When I begged you, you only gave him that stove-tending girl. Yet the instant he passed the examinations you went back on your word, and immediately took these two vixens as concubines. Hypocrite. Fraud. The guests at the feast were all officials and scholars from the city. The Lin family had lost all face. Old Master Lin was furious and wanted to report the matter to the authorities, but Lin Feng stopped him. He ordered the best physicians to treat Madame Lin, Tao and Lan then calmed his father and urged him to stay composed. After all, Huayan's elder brother still held an official post. They should not act rashly for the time being. Old Master Lin regained his senses. Lin Feng apologized to every guest and prepared generous gifts as compensation. He looked at me warily and said, I don't know how to arrange things for Huayan. Teacher Shu suggested bringing her to the Shu residence for now. I have already sent a letter to Hian. He dotes on his younger sister and will surely come to fetch her soon. For the next few days I must trouble you and Mama Chen to look after her. He looked utterly exhausted. I said I would go check on her to see if she needed anything. He stopped me. Wait, Chen Wei. Talk with me for a while. With Teacher Shu there she will be fine. So I sat down and waited for him to speak. He looked at me and asked slowly, Chen Wei, do you think Huayan is suitable to be a proper wife? He was considering breaking the engagement. He continued in a low voice. I once thought she was simply jealous. My mother is jealous too. But my mother is not like her. My father has 4 concubines, yet my mother managed everything smoothly and kept the household in order. My mother only arranged 3 concubines for me, but Huayan refuses to accept even one. What proper wife refuses to let her husband take concubines? What proper mistress doesn't want to expand the family line? Yet she only wants to be the sole favorite. In the end he concluded firmly, she is not suitable to be the principal wife. His eyes were grave as he stared at me intently. I will break the engagement. She refuses to accept Tao and Lan. That's one thing. But she won't even tolerate you. I startled. Did he need me that badly? Badly enough to insist on keeping me by his side? The moment he finished speaking, Teacher Shu returned. I stood up at once, intending to withdraw, but Lin Feng called me to stay. He said he wanted to discuss the matter with Teacher Shu and asked me to listen as well, so I sat back down. Lin Feng announced that he had thought it through carefully and had decided to break the engagement with Huayan. Teacher Shu objected. Huayan has made mistakes and her heart is narrow, but her value cannot be ignored. There is no need to rush into breaking the engagement, and you certainly cannot be the one to bring it up first. Wait until Huayan arrives and we will discuss it. You absolutely must not let others pin the label of heartless and unfaithful on you. Your future has only just begun. You cannot give anyone leverage, nor can you afford to offend the Kui family. Lin Feng was stunned for a moment, then looked at me and said in a low voice, but she cannot tolerate anyone else. Even though she is not yet the mistress of the household, she has already refused to spare my concubines. Teacher Shu glanced at me with a meaningful look, then turned back to Lin Feng and said slowly, for now, do not favor Tao and Lan. Once this matter blows over, there will be time enough. Right now you should focus on your studies and set the matter of women aside. Lin Feng nodded. I listened to them discuss every word, all of it revolving around benefits and advantages. Not a single sentence touched on affection. It was ice cold. Men. I didn't want to hear any more. I deliberately yawned several times, planning to escape and sleep. Sure enough, Lin Feng told me to withdraw, but just as I was about to leave, Teacher Shu stopped me. He asked, Chen Wei, you are a woman. What do you think of Huayan? Men judged women by benefit and value. So how did women judge women? I looked at Lin Feng, then at Teacher Shu. Both of them gazed at me with sincere eyes. They truly wanted to hear another perspective. I could not give a careless answer. I slowly shared my thoughts from an emotional point of view. I said that Huayan had lost her mother not long ago. she must still be grieving deeply and unable to adapt. From now on, no one would love her unconditionally. Her father had rushed to sleep with a maidservant, caring only for himself. The new mother figure in her heart had changed her attitude and no longer doted on her as before. Her brother was not by her side. No one had taught her what to do. She had simply stumbled forward blindly until, in despair, she realized that being Huayan did not guarantee she would be loved. Without value, she was no different from any other woman of no status, completely meaningless in the eyes of men. Both teacher Shu and Lin Feng stared at me in shock. Lin Feng said incredulously, "Are you defending Huayan? Losing her mother is pitiful, but countless people lose family members. How many of them turn as vicious as she did? Don't forget. In a single day she killed one person and injured 4 others." I did not answer, but teacher Shu caught a different point. He looked straight at me, frowning. "A woman of no status, Chen Wei. Are you talking about people like yourself?" I shook my head and lifted my chin. "I am not. I have assets." They looked even more puzzled. I said seriously, "I have Mama Chen and Chen Mai. When something happens they stand by me, support me, help me, comfort me. I am not alone. I am someone blessed with thick fortune." Paffed. Teacher Shu spat out his mouthful of tea. Lin Feng simply stared at me, his expression incredibly complicated. While they were still digesting the information, I decided retreat was the best strategy and hurried back to our room. Mama Chen and Chen Mai were both waiting for me. Today had truly been exhausting. I sighed. "Mama Chen, those two are nothing but spineless cowards hiding in their shells." Chen Mai asked curiously, "Big sister, are you talking about teacher Shu and young master Lin?" I hugged him and coaxed, "Chen Mai, when you grow up, promise me you won't become a cowardly turtle hiding in your shell, okay?" Chen Mai stiffened, then nodded firmly. I won't become a spineless coward." Mama Chen frowned and asked what had happened. I recounted everything. The 3 of us sat together in silence for a while before she said, "The situation is indeed like that. But your way of thinking is a little off. In this world, men scheme against women and women scheme against men. No one is truly innocent, but you also cannot view men as so ruthless. Once they develop feelings, even if the woman makes mistakes, the man will still protect her." Chen Mai raised his hand. "I can testify. I'm a man. If Big Sister Wei stabs my concubines, I will still protect Big Sister." I burst out laughing. After I finished laughing I stroked his head, and said solemnly, "Chen Mai, when you grow up, promise me you will only marry the person you truly love, and spend your whole life with her. Don't be like those men with 3 wives and 4 concubines who don't live long." Chen Mai clearly startled. He answered seriously, "But men are supposed to have many concubines. That's only natural." I was stunned. Looking at his young face, I suddenly woke up. This was a world that allowed multiple wives. Men had been taught this from childhood. I could not judge them by modern standards. In that instant I finally understood Lin Feng and teacher Shu. Mama Chen sighed. "Chen Mei, not every man has many wives and concubines. Poor families can only afford 1 wife. Even rich families sometimes have men who keep only 1 wife. Only when the principal wife cannot bear children or has grown old do they take concubines." Chen Mai pondered for a moment, then nodded. "All right, I will work hard to become rich, but I will only marry 1 wife." His earnest little expression was incredibly adorable. Mama Chen and I laughed together, but we both knew that in this place the idea of 1 husband and 1 wife was nothing more than a dream. The next morning Mama Chen took Chen Mai to eat breakfast with teacher Shu and Lin Feng, while I went to attend to Huayan. I had expected her to remain silent or rage, or maintain her lofty arrogance and look down on me. But I had thought too much. Her attitude was gentle, her tone calm, as if she had awakened to something. There was no grief, no anger, no sorrow, no wavering. I brought her the congee Mama Chen had cooked. She accepted it without a word and drank it all. Looking at the empty bowl, I felt uneasy. I asked carefully, "Miss Qi, would you like more?" She lifted her eyes, looked at me, and said, "In the future, may I eat together with all of you?" I stared at her in astonishment. She smiled faintly. "I mean, may I eat together with you, Mama Chen and Chen Mai?" I did not answer. She gave a soft laugh. "Call me tonight." When I stepped outside I nearly tripped. The moment I left the room I heard a very small but very light laugh. "Huayan, have you gone mad? 2 personalities splitting apart." Mama Chen listened to my account and also felt uneasy. Teacher Shu agreed to let her join us for meals. Lin Feng suspected she had other motives. Teacher Shu said, "Let's observe first." Lin Feng thought for a moment and accepted. That evening the four of us ate in Huayan's courtyard. Mama Chen and I said nothing. Chen Wei didn't understand Huayan's situation and behaved quite naturally. Huayan kept her head lowered. Chen Wei stole curious glances at her several times. When Huayan caught his gaze she smiled at him. Chen Wei froze, then blurted out, "Miss Kui, you're so beautiful." Huayan was stunned for a second, then burst into laughter. "Am I beautiful? How do I compare to your big sister Wei?" Chen Wei hesitated. "My big sister Wei can't be compared to other women." Huayan looked surprised. "Why can't she be compared?" Mama Chen and I were curious too. Chen Wei answered with complete seriousness. "Big sister Wei is family. Other women are outsiders." Mama Chen and I were deeply moved. Huayan paused. "Family and outsiders. What counted as family? What counted as an outsider?" She whispered the words to herself. "That's right, I still have family too. I still have my elder brother." Her eyes looked hollow. We were so alarmed we didn't dare say another word. The next morning at breakfast, all four of us were as quiet as mice. After the meal, Mama Chen hurriedly took Chen Wei and left. Huayan kept me behind. She asked, "Chen Wei, what are your wishes?" This was the second time someone had asked me about my wishes. This time I answered very quickly. "I want a small courtyard with a little garden, a chicken coop, a woodshed, a kitchen, and 3 rooms, one for me, one for Mama Chen, and one for Chen Wei." I thought she would mock me, but she didn't. Instead she asked seriously, "That would be a place to settle down. After you settle down, how will you make a living?" I answered, "Mama Chen and I will make snacks to sell." She said, "Then you'll need a shop as well, and the courtyard will need 1 more room. Chen Wei is still young and needs protection." She described everything with earnest detail. I didn't understand what she was getting at. On the 3rd day, after breakfast, Huayan asked, "Chen Wei, tell me. What's the difference between a principal wife and a concubine?" I tensed up immediately. "Miss Kui, I don't know how to answer that. The only principal wife I know is Madame Lin, and the only concubines I've ever seen are the 4 of Old Master Lin's ladies and Tower." The moment I said the name Tower I clamped my mouth shut. Sure enough, Huayan grew furious. She ground her teeth and hissed, "I will never let those 2 vixens get what they want in this lifetime. They can forget about becoming Lin Feng's concubines, and Madame Lin can forget about living in peace." She deceived me. She tricked me. I was stunned. If things had reached this point, there was truly no turning back for her and Lin Feng. Had she really gone mad? On the 4th day, Huayan asked, "Chen Wei, what is family?" I answered, "The people who can stay together for a long time." She frowned. "Isn't it blood relations?" I replied. "If we're talking blood, I only have myself, but now I have Mama Chen and Chen Wei. They are my family." I added in a low murmur, "And they're much better than many blood relatives." Huayan had sharp ears and caught every word. She looked at me in confusion. "Chen Wei, you don't seem like an ordinary maidservant. You have a mind of your own." I said, "Teacher Shu allows me to read books. Back when I was still in the kitchen at the Lin residence, I also read a lot of storybooks." She said, "No wonder my elder brother likes reading too, while I only liked following mother around. Mother always said my brother is wiser than I am. You're just a maidservant, yet you read a few books and became this clear-headed. How much wiser must my brother be?" I was wrong. On the 5th day, Huayan asked, "Which is more important, power or affection?" Another difficult question. I didn't know what she was driving at and didn't dare answer carelessly. She waited patiently, so I had no choice but to reply. "Power." She looked astonished. I explained, "If you have power, you can have any affection you want." She asked, "If you had power, would you still value Mama Chen and Chen Wei?" I answered without hesitation, "Of course I would. If I had power, I would share it with Mama Chen and Chen Wei. I want Mama Chen to live in comfort, and I want Chen Wei to stand tall in the world. I think if I owned a shop, Mama Chen would naturally be the manager, and Chen Wei would be my capable assistant." She fell silent, her expression unwilling, but power could not buy love from the person in your heart. I gave a soft snort, a little indignant. "If someone doesn't treat me well, How can they still be the person in my heart? Wouldn't it be better to use power to attract new people who treat me well, then gradually turn them into the people in my heart? Wan was stunned, then fell into deep thought. On the 6th day, Wan asked, Chen Wei, do you think people can change? I answered, of course. She asked again, why do they change? I said, because everyone wants to change. For example, Madam Lin wants young Master Lin to pass the examinations. If he refused to study or take Teacher Shu as his master, it would be very hard to achieve, so he has to change. He becomes Teacher Shu's student, accepts Teacher Shu's teachings, thinks differently than before, acts differently than before, and gradually turns into an entirely new young Master Lin. Wan whispered, that's right. I once wanted Lin Feng to change too, but I forgot that once he changed, the way he looked at me would also change. On the 7th day, I guessed Wan would ask another difficult question. I was almost out of answers for her, but today she didn't ask anything. She said, Chen Wei, I heard everything. I startled, my heart pounding. Heard what? I hadn't spoken badly of her. She continued, that night after Teacher Shu left, I secretly followed him. I stood outside young Master Lin's room and heard their conversation. I also heard when they asked you questions. You spoke well on my behalf. Afterward I couldn't help following you again. I stood outside your room and heard everything you, Mama Chen, and Chen Wei said. I frantically searched my memory. Thank goodness. I hadn't said a single bad word about her. Only then did I understand why, after that night, she had suddenly changed so completely. She looked at me and said solemnly, Chen Wei, thank you. Today my elder brother will arrive. I will ask him to reward you. Huayan's appearance was exceptionally striking. He looked very much like Wan. The two of them standing side by side were like male and female versions of the same face. Chen Wei and I stared in awe. Teacher Shu and Lin Feng received Huayan. Huayan thanked Lin Feng for not reporting the matter to the authorities and for bringing Wan to the Shu residence to protect her while she was out of her mind. Lin Feng said, after all, Wan is betrothed to me. She is my future wife. Taking care of her is only natural. As soon as he finished, his ears turned red, lying and blushing. He really wasn't good at it. Huayan also thanked Teacher Shu for taking in his sister and thanked Mama Chen and me for looking after her. Every word was thoughtful. He left no one out. I thought to myself that he truly was a wise man, just as Wanu had said. After a few polite exchanges, Teacher Shu tactfully led Lin Feng away, leaving the siblings some privacy. I wanted to leave too, but Wanu called me back. Huayan saw that his sister trusted me and said, Miss Shi may stay. Anything I say to my sister, Miss Shi may also hear. He recounted that before coming here to see Wanu, he had first visited Madam Lin. He sincerely apologized, admitting that Wanu had harmed the Lin family, Madam Lin, and the two young ladies. He said, I am truly sorry. I will compensate the two injured ladies. I also hope old Master Lin and Madam Lin will consider Wanu's feelings for Lin Feng and forgive her this once. Old Master Lin saw how sincere he was and found it hard to keep a cold face. Madam Lin, however, had tears in her eyes as she choked out. What about Lin Feng? With Wanu's temperament, Huayan said, I will not put the Lin family in a difficult position. After I comfort Wanu, I will return to discuss dissolving the engagement. Then Huayan presented valuable gifts and proactively mentioned that he would soon be heading to the capital and would take Wanu with him, so she would cause no further trouble for the Lin family. Madam Lin took the gift box and immediately stopped crying. She asked casually, why go to the capital? Your home and career are here. Huayan answered honestly, I have been fortunate enough to catch the eye of my superiors. He was being transferred from 7th rank to 5th rank and reassigned to the capital. The moment Madam Lin heard this, her expression changed completely. She said, children sometimes get jealous and lose their minds. A little discipline is enough. Why dissolve the engagement? The two of them have years of affection between them. Old Master Lin hurried to smooth things over as well. Huayan did not refuse outright. He only said they should let Lin Feng and Wanu decide for themselves. Then he turned to Wanu and asked, little sister, do you wish to continue the engagement? Elder brother will not encourage it. I feel the Lin family is not a good place. Wanu looked at me and asked, Chen Wei, what do you think? Huayan turned to me in surprise, his eyes curious. He had not expected his sister to ask a maidservant of the Lin family. Huayan then told him everything that had happened over the past 7 days. Hian looked at me, gave a slight nod, and suddenly bowed. Miss Shi is wise and clear-headed. Thank you. I panicked and waved my hands. Since I transmigrated here, this is the first time someone of high status has ever bowed to me. Huayan said. Chen Wei, speak the truth. I answered. Madam Lin prefers Tao Er. Huayan nodded. Lin Feng doesn't have much true affection for me either. Huayan said. Then we dissolve the engagement. Little sister, pack your things and come with elder brother to the capital. Huayan asked. Where? Huayan answered. The capital. She asked again. What about father? Huayan said. I have already made arrangements. Before coming here he had asked old Master Kui's wishes. He had elevated the maid-servant who had lost the child to concubine status, and taken all the other maid-servants who had climbed into their father's bed as bed-warmers, each given her own position. Old Master Kui did not want to go to the capital, he preferred to live peacefully here. Huayan said, Don't worry, Wanu. I have found a reliable steward for father and handed everything over to my colleagues here. They will help look after him. Everything has been arranged properly. I couldn't help looking at him a moment longer. Calm, meticulous, and reliable. Huayan was still hesitant. She didn't want to leave and was afraid of a strange land. Huayan said, That's fine too. I'll wait until I'm settled in the capital before taking you. We'll keep the engagement for now. With that status, the Lin family will still have to protect you to some degree. He took out a banknote and handed it to me. Both as thanks for looking after Wanu and as a request to continue doing so whenever she needed it. 1,000 taels. I don't dare accept it. Huayan said, Take it. Use it to buy a courtyard, open a shop, hire guards, fulfill your little dream. My hands trembled as I accepted it. Huayan also left behind 2 servants. A young manservant and a maidservant, both loyal to Huayan. He had originally planned to take them to the capital, but since his sister was staying temporarily, he left them here. What it feels like to have someone to rely on. I witnessed it with my own eyes today. What it feels like to become someone else's support. I truly felt it today. I handed the banknote to Mama Chen, feeling extremely accomplished. Mama Chen nearly collapsed. I had seen her gentle, I had seen her scold, I had seen her serious, I had seen her loving, I had seen her hardworking, I had seen her strong, but I had never seen her collapse. She lifted the banknote, first in disbelief, then clutched it to her chest and burst into tears. For years we had worked ourselves to the bone, pinching every coin, and had only managed to save less than 50 taels. Mama Chen often said that striking out on our own to support 2 people would already be difficult enough. Supporting 3 would be impossible. Chen Wei was a growing boy who needed to eat well and attend school. Every few days she would open her little wooden box, carefully stroke each silver fragment, and after doing so again and again would always sigh. If only we had a little more. But now it wasn't a little more. It was far more than we needed. For a small family like ours, 1,000 taels, if spent wisely, would be enough to live on for a lifetime without worry. For the first time in her life, Mama Chen felt that owning her own household was no longer a distant dream but something right before her eyes, just one step away. She said emotionally, Chen Wei, only now do I understand why people want children. When you raise them well, they truly become a solid support. Mama truly thanks you. Chen Wei. Her eyes were blurred with tears, but her brows, the corners of her eyes, and her mouth were all filled with pride. A fierce pride surged inside me as well. For the first time I truly felt the overwhelming happiness of being able to bring joy to the people. I was so excited I trembled and blurted out, Mama, spend it freely. I'll earn even more later. Mama Chen wiped her tears and shot me a glare. What reckless spending. This money is for us to settle down and build our livelihood. We can't squander it. She carefully folded the banknote and tucked it into the secret compartment at the bottom of the box, then closed the lid. After that she took out a small amount of loose silver from the upper compartment. She said, But we can't be too frugal either. Now that we have money, we should let you and Chen Wei live better. She studied me carefully. You look decent enough, but you wear dark clothes every day and never put on powder or rouge. No matter how pretty you are, it's all hidden. She called Chen Wei over and said she wanted to take him out to buy fabric so she could make new clothes for the two of us, and she also wanted to buy 2 sticks of candied hawthorn. Until now, my clothes had always been made from old fabric discarded by the Lin residents. This time she insisted on new clothes to spruce us up, plus candied hawthorn to satisfy our cravings. The moment Chen Wei heard about the candied hawthorn, he jumped for joy. I took Mama Chen's hand and said, "Mama should have some too." Chen Wei nodded vigorously. Yes, yes, yes. Mama Chen sniffled. Right, everyone gets a share. Chen Wei was impatient. Beaming, he pulled Mama Chen outside. I watched their figures, my eyes glistening with tears. I was truly too excited. This feeling was even more joyful than when I had passed the imperial examinations before transmigrating. So happiness could be this simple. With silver in hand, Mama Chen was clearly much more at ease, and the scope of her care expanded. Before, she had only looked after Chen Wei and me. Now she even took care of the 2 servants attending Wanu. Little Shan was a manservant and Little Xing was a maidservant. Both had timid personalities and had always been cautious and restrained in the Shu residence. But after Mama Chen roasted an ear of corn for each of them, the 2 grew much bolder. Gradually they began volunteering to chop firewood and turn soil, and they also became closer to Chen Wei and me. Chen Wei loved having more people around, so whenever we ate he would call Little Shan and Little Xing to join us. Mama Chen nodded in approval. The 2 of them were so happy they nearly fainted. Over time the Shu residents clearly divided into 3 distinct groups. Huayan formed her own group, perhaps influenced by me. She spent all day reading. Teacher Shu allowed her to take books from the study back to her room. Teacher Shu and Lin Feng formed another group. Ever since Huayan moved in, they no longer called us to eat together. The second round of examinations was approaching, so Teacher Shu stayed glued to Lin Feng, tutoring him without pause. Mama Chen, Chen Wei, Little Shan, and Little Xing formed the third group. The masters had their own affairs, and we simply minded our own. They didn't interfere, and we lived freely and comfortably. Chen Wei was the happiest. Lately Teacher Shu had paused his lessons, devoting all his time to Lin Feng. So Chen Wei followed Little Shan everywhere, and everyone was cheerful and at peace. That evening Chen Wei came back late again. Mama Chen asked where he had been. Chen Wei answered cheerfully, "Little Shan took me out to play. We met a group of kids and had so much fun." Mama Chen asked, "Was it at the east end of the street?" Chen Wei nodded immediately. "Less." She asked again, "Were those children all out of school?" Chen Wei looked curious. "Yes, they don't have to study at all." Mama Chen continued, "Were their clothes all patched and full of holes? Did they all look thin and frail?" Chen Wei's eyes widened. "Mama, how did you know?" Mama Chen didn't answer. She simply sat there in silence. I felt something was off and spoke up. "Mama, what's wrong?" She said softly, "Only the east end of the street has that many children, and all of them come from poor families. Their parents are busy making a living and have no one to look after them." Chen Wei and I fell quiet because we had once been like that. We had once been children no one wanted. After a long while Mama Chen said, "Chen Wei, keep looking for those children. Bring them some food to share and teach them what Teacher Shu has taught you." Chen Wei was excited. "Yes." He asked again, "Can I bring them into the residence to play?" Mama Chen shook her head. "This is Teacher Shu's home, not ours. We can't bring outsiders in on our own. Even though Teacher Shu is kind-hearted, we mustn't do that. Miss Q likes quiet, and young Master Lin needs to focus on his studies. Too many people would be noisy." Chen Wei pouted, full of regret. I understood Mama Chen wanted to help more poor children, but I didn't dare make any bold promises. After all, we were still guests here. We were not the masters of this place. Even though the residence was large and there was plenty of space, we could not casually bring outsiders in. After dinner that evening, Mama Chen and I took a walk around the Shu residence to see just how big it really was. Ever since arriving I had only stayed near Lin Feng, and Teacher Shu lived close by as well. When I first came I had thought the Shu residence was smaller than the Lin residence because the kitchen was smaller. But after actually walking the full circuit, Mama Chen and I were stunned. It was much larger than the Lin residence. A family that owned a residence this vast must have had ancestors who held very high official ranks. I sighed. Such a huge residence, yet only teacher Shu lives here. What a shame. Mama Chen said. Who said he's the only one? He still has family. I heard his relatives hold official posts elsewhere. When he returned home that year, there were still servants in the residence, but he didn't want anyone around, so he dismissed them all. Later, once things improved a little, he took in young Master Lin. So that was how it was. I asked if he had brothers or sisters. Don't tell me he's an only child like young Master Lin. Mama Chen answered. I don't know about that. I only heard that Madame Shu loves him very much. Very soon afterward I met more of teacher Shu's family than I could count. Madame Shu arrived at the Shu residence leading a large group of people. The eldest young master of the Shu family, Shu Pingfeng, teacher Shu's elder brother. The eldest granddaughter, Shu Yuner, daughter of Shu Pingfeng. The eldest young miss of the Shu family, Shu Pingyan, teacher Shu's younger sister. Miss Shu Wuxia, teacher Shu's cousin. Miss Xiao, the girl they had rescued on the road. In addition there were maidservants, wet nurses, and family guards. In the blink of an eye the Shu residence became livelier than ever before. Chen Mai's eyes widened in shock. How can one family have so many people? Mama Chen laughed. Wealthy and noble families always have large households. I stood there dazed. Ever since transmigrating here I had never seen so many beauties. In the Lin residence there had only been Madame Lin and a few pretty maidservants. Kai Wan was beautiful too, but compared to these ladies, she was merely a modest beauty from a humble background. The women before me now were radiant as sunlight, each with her own distinct charm. Standing together they looked like a vibrant spring scene inside the Shu residence. I thought to myself, excellent. This is the Grand View Garden. All the young misses are here. So who will be Lin Day Yu and who will be young Master Ba Yu? I was just settling in to watch the show when Madame Shu's first order hit like a cold autumn rain, completely extinguishing my gossip. Loving soul, she said, how has such a proper residence turned into a vegetable garden? Who allowed you to plant crops? How has such a proper residence ended up with chickens? Who allowed you to raise chickens? The servants inside the residence are one thing, but who allowed outside servants to wander freely? Her face was icy, her tone stern, and we all fell silent. Just as Madame Shu was about to order the 5 of us thrown out of the residence, Teacher Shu and Lin Feng appeared. Qi Wan came as well. Teacher Shu was excited to see his mother again. Madame Shu stared at him for a long time before asking slowly, Ping Shan, is this my Ping Shan? Teacher Shu nodded with misty eyes. Before his mother he looked rosy-cheeked and full of vigor, nothing like the pale, frail man he had once been. Teacher Shu immediately introduced us. He said, it is all thanks to Mama Chen's meticulous care and Miss Chen Wei teaching me the 8 brocades that my health has improved so much. Madame Shu's expression softened at once. He continued by introducing Lin Feng and Kui Wan. Upon hearing that Kui Wan was Kui Yan's younger sister, Madame Shu immediately smiled. Her gaze toward Kui Wan was full of approval. Kui Wan was graceful and proper, every inch the young lady from a great family. Madame Shu judged people by their value, no different from Madame Lin. I quietly placed her in the same category. Even though she was grateful to us for taking such good care of Teacher Shu, she still insisted that rules were rules and the difference between master and servant must be maintained. Especially when she learned I was Lin Feng's bed warmer, her face turned cold at once. She immediately ordered the vegetable garden leveled, the chickens slaughtered, and our range of movement restricted. We were separated. The 3 of us were only allowed to move within Lin Feng's courtyard. Little Shan and Little Xing were only allowed to move within Qi Wan's courtyard. If we wanted to go outside we had to ask permission from our masters and give advance notice. She said, servants must act like servants. And so the 5 of us were managed exactly like the servants of the Shu residence. We had only just tasted freedom, and now we were bound again. None of us could get used to it. Chen Mai, a child who loved to run and jump, was now confined to the courtyard like a bird in a cage. He wilted like a withered flower. Mama Chen's heart ached as she watched the vegetables chopped down and the chickens slaughtered. She could only cry in silence. As for me, I felt nothing but despair. Returning to the position of a lowly person, I felt utterly powerless. Those beautiful days before had only been temporary. This was the true inner courtyard of a noble family. This was the world ruled by women. Lin Feng and teacher Shu had given me so many special privileges, yet at the time I hadn't realized how precious they were. Only now, looking back, did I understand their value. I began to feel grateful to them. Even if they had their own calculations, they were still 1,000 times better than Madame Shu. There was still some time before the second round of examinations. Lin Feng began to grow tense. He pounded his head, looking utterly miserable. Because I felt a little guilty, I was much more patient with him. Sensing my concern, he said, "Chen Wei, come with me." I asked. "I'm not allowed into the examination hall anyway. What use would I be if I went?" He said, "On the road you can massage my head." I frowned. "Why are you so nervous this time? Even more than the first time?" He closed his eyes, his voice hoarse. "The first time I only carried the Lin family on my shoulders. Now I'm also carrying teacher Shu." I asked where teacher Shu was. "Why isn't he with you?" He kept his eyes closed, enjoying the massage, and answered lazily, "Madame Shu missed her son and called him over to talk." "Ah, so teacher Shu is filial." Lin Feng continued, "Madame Shu wants to host a flower viewing banquet and take the chance to introduce Shu Pingfeng and Shu Pingyan." I blinked. Why leave out Shen Wuxia? I remembered she and Shu Pingyan looked about the same age. Lin Feng opened his eyes and glanced at me. "Fool. Miss Xiao is meant for teacher Shu." My mouth fell open, cousins marrying each other. Then I remembered that close blood relations often led to birth defects. But the matter had nothing to do with me. If they didn't mind, I wouldn't either. Lin Feng added, "I was invited too. You have to come with me at that time." I refused at once. "Young master, that's not appropriate for me." He raised an eyebrow. "You are my bed warmer." "If you're not appropriate, then who is?" I reminded him. "Miss Kui is your fiancée. She is also in the residence." Lin Feng paused, then grew irritable. He said, "Chen Wei, I don't know what you think of me. Good or bad. But the only thing I can give Kui Wan heir is a title. Anything more and I would be miserable to death." I startled. How could that be? They had grown up together. I had thought that after so many years he would at least have some affection for her. I never expected it to be extreme disgust. He snorted coldly. "Grew up together? You mean my mother and her mother forced us to stay together, and I had to listen day after day about how well matched we were? You mean she calls me brother Lin Feng but never cared for me like a little sister? She only cared about whether I passed the examinations and never saw how hard it was for me or how my head felt like it would split open? You mean she always compared me to her elder brother, telling everyone he was better than me and using him to control me? You mean her mother and my mother were both model mistresses of the house, and she loved her own mother to death but hated my mother to the bone?" I hurriedly cut him off. "Young master, stop. I understand. You extremely detest her." He ground his teeth. "Not just detest, extreme detest. You are clearly my bed warmer, yet ever since she arrived I have had to avoid you, afraid her jealousy would make her hurt you again." He said he must protect me. My hands unconsciously tightened, pressing harder. He needed me. He could not be apart from me. He wanted to protect me. All of this proved that in his heart there was me. I didn't know if Lin Feng realized he had developed feelings. If he did, even if Madame Lin agreed to let us go, he would stubbornly keep me. Right now we were locked inside the courtyard. Compared to before, I was appearing before him even more often. This was not good. I had to think of a way out. The crisis came quickly. That day Mama Chen and I were cutting and sewing clothes in the room. The fabric we had bought earlier still hadn't been made into garments. Chen Mai was playing alone in the courtyard. We were too absorbed in our work. By the time we noticed how quiet it had become, we realized something was wrong. Normally he would run back and forth between the room and the yard, playing outside for a while then coming in to see what we were doing. I started to worry and hurried outside to look for him. He was nowhere to be seen. Had he been caught by Madame Shu's people? She was still watching us closely. Even if she didn't beat or scold us, a harsh scolding would be hard to avoid. I quickly opened the courtyard gate to search for him. Right then Chen Mai came back. He called out happily, "Big sister Chen Wei, look, I brought back a little sister." Behind him a tiny little girl clutched tightly to the hem of his robe, following timidly. I stared. Whose child is this? The little girl was fair and soft like a blessed peach. Her round eyes sparkled, she looked adorable no matter how you saw her. Mama Chen heard the noise and came out. The moment she saw the little girl she melted. She had always loved children, and now seeing such a pretty little girl she was even more helpless to resist. She said, "Oh my, how adorable. Chen Wei, where did you pick her up from?" Before Chen Wei could answer, Mama Chen and I both noticed something strange. The child was clean and neat, and her clothes were made of the finest fabric. This little girl did not look like a homeless child. Chen Wei explained right away that by the lotus pond the little sister had nearly fallen in. Luckily he had pulled her out in time. After pulling her up she kept following him and refused to leave no matter what. With no other choice he had brought her back. The little girl blinked but said nothing. She only clutched Chen Wei's robe tightly and wouldn't let go. The scene felt strangely familiar. It was exactly like when Chen Wei had first been brought here. Could this little girl have suffered trauma too? But something still felt off. Right then Lin Feng walked into the courtyard. He had just finished eating and wanted to take a stroll when he saw us. The little girl immediately hid behind Chen Wei. Lin Feng looked at her in confusion. She avoided his gaze. He frowned. "Why doesn't this little girl dare look at me?" Mama Chen said, "Young master, perhaps she's shy around strangers." Lin Feng didn't believe it. He pressed, "Then why is she only afraid of me?" Mama Chen shook her head. He looked at me. I shook my head too. He grew annoyed. "We all met her for the first time. Why is she only avoiding me?" The little girl didn't answer. She only kept her head down, twisting the hem of Chen Wei's robe over and over. Lin Feng felt he had lost face. He snorted coldly and turned back to his room. We took the little girl inside. As we passed the kitchen I casually stirred the embers in the stove and pulled out a few sweet potatoes I had buried there earlier that afternoon. The moment we entered the room the fragrant aroma filled the air. I peeled off the charred skin and gave some to Mama Chen and Chen Wei. The little girl stared. I tried offering her one. She looked at Chen Wei. When he nodded and said, "Eat it, it's really good." She cautiously accepted it. The moment it touched her mouth it was too hot. She kept huffing and puffing. Chen Wei imitated the adults, blowing on it gently before taking small bites. The little girl copied him. Very quickly she learned the exact motion. Mama Chen was delighted. "Oh my, this little girl is so smart." The little girl showed symptoms very similar to autism, but only a mild version. When she was with Mama Chen, Chen Wei, and me she could interact emotionally in a normal way, but whenever she saw Lin Feng she showed no reaction at all. In the several days she had been here, the moment she saw him she would hide or run away. Lin Feng refused to accept it and kept trying to get close. She would then hide behind Chen Wei and bury her face, refusing to look up. Mama Chen's heart ached. Every time this happened she would urge him to leave. I suddenly remembered a medicinal recipe I had once read in an ancient text that used food to regulate mood. The ingredients were very simple. Our small vegetable garden in Lin Feng's courtyard had everything, so I tried cooking a few dishes. The little girl wasn't picky and ate whatever I gave her. Sure enough, 5 days later her condition had stabilized considerably. When she first arrived she would tremble at any sudden noise. After 5 days she no longer trembled. When she met Lin Feng she no longer avoided him in fear. She simply acted as if she didn't see him. No matter how he tried to coax her she would go about her own business without paying him any mind. Lin Feng's competitive spirit was ignited. He began bringing her toys. She would accept them, then immediately pass them to Chen Wei. Chen Wei happily took everything, grinning from ear to ear. Lin Feng froze. He turned to me and asked, "Chen Wei, exactly how am I worse than the rest of you? Why does little Hua still refuse to pay me any attention?" The moment he finished speaking the little girl glared at him. Lin Feng was stunned, then laughed like a fool. She looked at me. "Chen Wei, did you see? Little Hua just looked at me." The whole courtyard burst into laughter. Mama Chen had named the little girl Shi Xiaohua, Little Hua. Lin Feng nodded. It sounded nice and easy to remember. Ever since Little Hua arrived, after every study session Lin Feng would come running over to play with us. The days of being locked in the small courtyard became much less boring. Chen Wei had a playmate and his mood improved. The only thing still missing was that Little Hua refused to speak. Mama Chen told us not to rush. When Chen Wei first arrived it had taken him more than 10 days before he opened his mouth. One day Little Hua's clothes got dirty. Mama Chen and I used the fabric we had prepared for Chen Mai and made her a new set. The two children changed into their new clothes and stood side by side looking exactly like brother and sister. Little Hua looked at Chen Mai's outfit, then touched her own, repeating the motion several times. Mama Chen asked gently, "Do you like it?" Little Hua smiled at her and laughed out loud. Chen Mai exclaimed in surprise. Little Hua smiled. She can smile. Mama Chen and I were overjoyed. If she could smile, speaking couldn't be far behind. Lin Feng heard the commotion and came running so fast he nearly tripped. Little Hua saw him and giggled again. We were all happy when a large group of people burst aggressively into the courtyard, led by a tall, stern-faced man. His cold gaze swept across the entire yard. When the man saw Little Hua, he suddenly froze. "Yuner," he said carefully. He stepped forward, knelt down, and reached out a hand toward her face. Little Hua didn't hide, but the instant his fingers were about to touch her, her smile vanished and she shrank back. Chen Mai immediately stepped in front of her, shielding her. The man paused, then moved around Chen Mai and reached for Little Hua again. "Yuner, why are you here? Father has been searching everywhere for you. Come home with father." With that, he grabbed for her. Little Hua dodged and ran to clutch the hem of Chen Mai's robe. Her eyes were full of terror as she spoke clearly and distinctly. "No, go." The man was stunned. He spoke with trembling excitement. "Yuner, what did you just say? Say it again." Little Hua retreated all the way behind Chen Mai, peeking out only her head. Her voice was frightened. "No, no, no, go." The man stood motionless, his hands shaking, large tears rolling down his cheeks. I had no idea what was happening. Mama Chen gripped my hand tightly, and Lin Feng quietly moved closer to stand beside us. At that moment Teacher Shu came running in from outside, so hurried he lost one shoe. The instant he reached the doorway he panted, "Elder brother, why did you run to young Master Lin's courtyard? Yuner cannot stay here." Before he finished speaking, he saw Little Hua. He stood frozen for a long time before he recovered. His voice mixed shock and emotion. "Yuner, why are you here?" So this little girl was Teacher Shu's niece. Her real name was Shu Yuner. The tall man was Shu Pingfeng, Teacher Shu's elder brother. I had only seen him from afar before, and hadn't gotten a clear look at his face. I never imagined Shu Pingfeng was a general stationed at the Huayan border. Huayan was the fief of Prince Huai. Shu Pingfeng's troops were garrisoned right on the Huayan frontier. 3 years earlier the Wanu tribe had gathered an army and launched a surprise attack on Huayan. Right before Little Hua's eyes, her mother had been murdered. When a Wanu soldier raised his blade to strike her down, Shu Pingfeng arrived with his men just in time and slaughtered every last enemy. He saved his daughter but could not save his wife. From that day on, Shu Yuner stopped speaking. She wouldn't look at anyone, and she would shrink away the moment any man came near. Shu Pingfeng was terrified. He invited countless famous physicians, but nothing worked. In desperation he begged Madame Shu for help. When Madame Shu heard that her eldest son had lost his wife and her granddaughter had suffered such trauma, she immediately arranged for her second son to remain at home, then led her daughter Shu Pingyan, her niece Shen Wuxia, and a group of female relatives to Huayan. The journey lasted 3 years. For those 3 years Madame Shu stayed by Little Hua's side, taking her all over Huayan in search of better doctors, yet the illness never improved. This return trip was both to find even more skilled physicians and to arrange marriages for the 2 young ladies in the family. We recounted the whole story of how Little Hua had come here and how she had stayed. Shu Pingfeng was endlessly grateful. He immediately rewarded Chen Mai with an exquisite slingshot for shooting birds and gave Mama Chen a 500-tael banknote. He thanked me especially because my use of medicinal recipes from the ancient texts had helped improve Shu Yuner's condition and made her speak for the first time in 3 years. Overcome with emotion, he stared at me to express his gratitude. A towering man nearly 6'3" standing in front of me felt like an oppressive mountain. I was so startled I took several steps back. Shu Yuner ran out and stood protectively in front of me. She spoke clearly. "Big sister is good." Then she pushed her father away. "You go protect outsiders, chase away family." Madame Shu stared in shock, but she quickly grew overjoyed. It turned out that on the day of the flower viewing banquet, she had been busy organizing everything, and preparing for the two young ladies to make their debut. In her distraction, she had momentarily lost track of her granddaughter. In the blink of an eye, little Hua had vanished. They searched the entire Shu residence, checking every possible place, but found nothing. They were frantic and immediately sent word to Shu Pingfeng. Fearing old enemies had come for her, he dispatched men to calm every corner, and even reported it to the authorities for investigation. Yet they searched the whole city and found no trace of Shu Yun heir, nor any sign of Wanu soldiers. Madame Shu could neither sit nor stand still, but Shu Pingfeng grew calm again. He concluded that his daughter must still be inside the residence. So he led people to search every inch, starting with the empty courtyards, then Shu Pingyan's courtyard, then Kui Wan Heir's, and finally Lin Feng's courtyard. These past few days Teacher Shu had been busy keeping Madame Shu company and had not visited Lin Feng's courtyard. They assumed we were confined inside and could not possibly have encountered little Hua, much less hidden her. Who could have guessed that Chen Wei was a child who never followed the rules? I had often practiced the 8 brocades by the lotus pond before. These past few days of confinement had left me missing the lotus flowers, and my heart had grown restless. Chen Wei had secretly slipped out, planning to pick a few lotus blossoms to bring back. Instead of flowers, he had brought back a little girl. This was fate. And thanks to that fate, Shu Pingfeng had finally found a direction for treating his daughter. Madame Shu took my hand and said, "Chen Wei, I see it clearly now. You are no ordinary maidservant. You helped my son regain his health and helped my granddaughter speak for the first time in 3 years. The Shu residence thanks you, and I thank you personally." Her gratitude was sincere and heartfelt, without the slightest trace of the arrogance or distance she had shown before. I was so embarrassed I didn't know where to put my hands. She also promised, "Chen Wei, I will bestow upon you a grand reward." I wanted to say that helping me redeem Mama Chen's body sale contract would be enough, but with Lin Feng present I didn't dare open my mouth, afraid he would throw a fit. Madame Shu had promised me a grand reward, yet I waited and still saw nothing. Mama Chen and I watched the days and nights pass with no news. We did, however, receive some tangible benefits. Madame Shu had elevated the 3 of us to the status of benefactors of the Shu residence. We were no longer treated as mere servants. Even though we were forbidden from planting vegetables or raising chickens, the restrictions on our movement were lifted. We were now allowed to come and go freely within the residence. In truth, the ban had to be lifted. Little Hua would stop speaking the moment she left our side. With no other choice, Madame Shu had to let it be. Shu Pingfeng invited famous physicians to prescribe medicine that complemented my medicinal recipes. As a result, Shu Yuna recovered very quickly. From speaking 1 word at a time, she could now form 3 or 4 word sentences. The sentence she said most often was, "Wait for me, Chen Mai." She had become Chen Mai's little shadow. Mama Chen sighed with emotion, "I truly am blessed. I picked up 1 child and he has prospects. I picked up another and she has prospects too. I should pick up a few more." I laughed. "It's not that every child you pick up has prospects. It's because you're a good person, so the children who follow you turn out well too." Mama Chen heard this and basked in the praise. Lin Feng's attitude toward Mama Chen had completely changed. He gradually realized she was the central figure in my world. If he wanted to get close to me, he first had to get close to her. Besides, after spending time in the Shu residence, he had truly felt her kindness. He began treating her proactively and with increasing warmth. As for Teacher Shu, there was no need to speak of him. He came by every 3 days. First, to nurture his relationship with his niece. Second, after eating the meals arranged by Madame Shu for a while, he had started feeling unwell. He began missing the cooking Mama Chen and I produced. We were not allowed into the main kitchen, but there was a small kitchen in Lin Feng's courtyard. The 3 of us had always prepared our own meals there, so Teacher Shu began coming over to eat directly. Madame Shu let him be. To her, the health of her son and granddaughter mattered more than anything else. In this regard, Madame Shu was far wiser than Madame Lin. Mama Chen said, "It seems Madame Shu isn't so bad after all. But why hasn't she mentioned the reward yet? Could she be planning to renege?" After the period of confinement, Mama Chen no longer wanted to stay. Living as a guest in a great household was unreliable. I was growing impatient too, especially since Lin Feng had begun looking at me with a different gaze, one filled with a desire I had never seen before. I asked Mama Chen, "Do you see any change in me?" Mama Chen looked me over. "No change at all." Then she studied me more carefully and exclaimed in surprise, "Wet, there really is something different. Your nose is a little higher, your chin a little sharper, your eyes a little larger. Huh, why are your eyebrows thicker?" Her gaze traveled downward and she suddenly gasped. "Ah, why has your chest grown so quickly?" She looked me up and down again, stunned. "Why didn't I notice before? In this pale yellow outfit you don't look the least bit inferior to the young ladies of the Shu family. In fact you even outshine Huayan air." This was bad. I immediately clapped a hand over her mouth, spun around, ran back to the room, changed into a loose gray outfit, and scooped up a handful of ash from the kitchen stove. I closed my eyes and smeared it all over my face and hair. Only when I was done did I turn to the dazed Mama Chen and explain everything clearly. She slapped her thigh in realization. "So that's it," she added. "No wonder young Master Lin has been changing his clothes so frequently lately. This really is the phoenix seeking the phoenix." Then she added, "But he is the phoenix, and he doesn't see you as one. He only wants you as his bed warmer. Now that we are benefactors of the Shu residents, we naturally cannot be anyone's bed warmer anymore." I agreed. "Exactly." Mama Chen said, "Once we leave, we will be our own masters. If we marry, it must be as proper principal wives." I nodded. I let her enjoy her fantasy. Teacher Shu arranged to meet me by the lotus pond. When I arrived he was already practicing the 8 brocades and his movements were quite accurate. He had clearly been at it for a long time. Seeing me, he stopped, wiped away his sweat, and said, "This set of exercises is truly excellent. Once you practice it long enough it becomes habit. You just want to keep going," he continued. "Chen Wei, you really do have talent." I knew he was referring to how I had helped Shu Yunair. Since he had brought it up himself, I couldn't let the chance slip, so I smoothly mentioned Madame Shu's promise and reminded him of Mama Chen's request for his help. I said, "Teacher Shu, I don't ask for any grand reward. I only hope Madame Shu will help redeem Mama Chen's body sale contract." He looked at me and asked, "If we redeem the contract, what do you plan to do?" I answered, "Strike out on our own and establish our own household." He asked, "You want to leave the Shu residence?" I said, "Yes, the 3 of us have been longing for this for a very long time." He was silent for a long while, then asked, "Chen Wei, have you ever thought about marriage?" I answered, "Not yet. You know I am a maidservant. My appearance is nothing special and my personality isn't particularly endearing. I was arranged to be young Master Lin's bed warmer, but I don't want to be one." He stared at me for a long time without speaking. Seeing he remained silent I bowed and took my leave. Huayan had also arranged to meet me. It had been a while. The moment I saw her I noticed she had changed greatly. Less arrogance, more calm composure. She now carried the bearing of a proper principal wife. She said, "My elder brother has sent a letter. He has already been promoted to 4th rank." I was astonished and filled with admiration. Rising so quickly was truly impressive. She continued, "His Majesty has promised that once my brother resolves the flood disaster in Chizhou, he will be appointed minister." My mouth fell open. I couldn't help exclaiming, "This is like riding the wind and fire to a rapid promotion." Seeing my reaction, she looked extremely pleased, her face openly proud. Then she added casually, as if it were nothing, "The great households in the capital have heard that my brother has an unmarried younger sister observing mourning. They are competing to send marriage proposals. It won't be long before I enter the capital." Every young nobleman seeking her hand was an official with boundless prospects. The implication was crystal clear. She no longer placed any importance on Lin Feng. That was normal. I sincerely felt happy for her and offered my heartfelt congratulations. She accepted them, then deliberately put on an indifferent air. "This is fate. Even though I lost my mother's protection, in the end my fate is still good." I kept agreeing, but in my heart I thought it would be best if she were so overjoyed that she generously rewarded me with another 500 taels like Shu Pingfeng had. Instead she changed the subject. She said, "I heard you used medicinal recipes to help Shu Yunair. Chen Wei, although you are a maidservant, you are no ordinary one. Not only are you kind-hearted, you truly have ability. The recipe you used for Shu Yun heir. I had seen it in the ancient texts too, but I never connected it to her condition. Even though I had met her many times before you did, when I learned you had already used it I regretted it for a long time, feeling I had missed a chance to make a name for myself. But afterward I thought it through. Everyone is different. I don't need that kind of fame, and I don't need that kind of ability. But you do, and my brother does too. We need someone like you. I listened in confusion, completely lost. She continued. After I told my brother the story, he could not stop praising you. So what? Was she planning to give me another 1,000 taels? But I had cured someone from the Shu family. Why would her brother need to thank me? Seeing I still didn't understand, she put on a magnanimous expression and spoke as if bestowing a favor. My brother is willing to welcome you into the family as a favored concubine. What do you think? I stared at her in utter shock, thinking she must be joking. But no, her face was completely serious, showing no sign of madness. She asked me, yet her expression was one of eager anticipation, as if she expected me to be overjoyed and burst into grateful tears. I couldn't hold back a silent curse. Get lost!
Go marry your own father!
I'd rather beg on the streets than become anyone's concubine. My mouth had no filter. I said, I don't want to. She couldn't believe it. Her face twisted and she shrieked. You don't want to. You're willing to be Lin Feng's bed warmer, but you refuse to be my brother's favored concubine. Did you hear me clearly? A favored concubine. Any child you bear will be entered into the family genealogy. Both you and your child will be protected by my brother. Do you understand? My brother is about to become a minister. He is nothing like that penniless scholar Lin Feng. When words failed, further talk was useless. I bowed and took my leave, ignoring her frenzied screams and the sound of her smashing things behind me. Just because she was his sister, I wouldn't spare him a glance either. Favored concubine or lowly concubine, they were both concubines. What was there to be happy about? Yes, I, a proud top medical student from a 985 university, had no need to cling to any man. I could stand on my own 2 feet. I had proudly called myself a top student from the class of 98, but it wasn't long before that claim slapped me across the face. At the flower viewing banquet my face stung with humiliation, wave after wave of it. I was not seated beside Lin Feng, and neither was Huayan. Each of them had their own separate table. Aside from them, all the young masters and young misses from families of equal status to the Shu family, who were not yet engaged and of similar age had been invited. They were arranged in a large circle, yet close enough that everyone could see one another clearly. Madame Shu had placed me to her left, with Teacher Shu on her right. The 3 of us sat at the main table. Shu Pingyan and Shen Wuxia shared one table to the left of the main table. Miss Xiao and a man in purple robes shared another table to the right of the main table. A few days earlier Chen Wei had mentioned that a group of people had arrived in the residence, and one man in particular looked so imposing that just seeing him made you want to kneel. Chen Wei had been so frightened he hadn't dared approach the main courtyard since. Little Hua had said the same. The man shared a courtyard with Miss Xiao, so she was also afraid. To avoid running into him, the 2 children had stayed inside Lin Feng's courtyard for days and refused to come out. Today, because of the flower viewing banquet, all the young masters and misses had gathered on the open ground beside the lotus pond. Only then did the 2 children feel safe enough to venture outside. This was exactly the spot where I practiced the 8 brocades every day. I never imagined it could hold so many people. I couldn't help studying the mysterious guest, the one who had frightened the 2 children. The moment I looked, my heart trembled. This was the aura of someone who had sat in a high position for many years. It felt different from Shu Pingfeng. Shu Pingfeng inspired fear, but this man made you want to check your own neck to see if your head was still attached. Madame Shu knew how to host. She had arranged 3 rounds of competition in total. The first round was composing poetry or painting about lotus flowers. I covered my face in agony. I couldn't compose poetry and I couldn't paint. All I could do was say something in plain speech like, "This lotus is really beautiful." But I didn't dare open my mouth. I was afraid of embarrassing myself. Aside from me, Miss Xiao, and the man in purple, everyone else presented their works. After comparing them, I couldn't help looking at Madame Shu with admiration. No wonder she was so arrogant, she had every right to be. Under her guidance, Shu Pingshan, Shu Pingyan, and Shen Wuxia were the most outstanding of the three, especially Shu Pingshan's poem, Ode to the Lotus. It was in no way inferior to the famous line, emerging unstained from the mud. Without any dispute, he became the center of the entire gathering. The second round was calculating the value of the entire lotus pond. Kai Wan won this round. I never imagined she was so skilled at calculation. She made full use of every part of the lotus: cuisine, appreciation, medicine, clothing. The value she estimated was double what Shu Pingyan calculated, because Shu Pingyan had fallen short on the medicinal aspect. These days Qi Wan had read quite a few ancient medical texts and memorized them thoroughly. She didn't want to miss another chance like the one with Shu Yun. Who would have thought she could put it to use so soon? Shu Pingyan had only mentioned 2 parts of the lotus that could be used as medicine, while Kwai Wan listed them all: lotus flower, lotus seed heart, lotus pod, lotus seed, lotus leaf, lotus root knot, lotus node, and explained every medicinal use. When she finished, she deliberately glanced at me. I covered my face in pain. I only knew how to admire lotuses. I thought they were beautiful, so I came here to practice the 8 brocades. I had never thought they could be used as medicine. The whole gathering burst into admiration. Even the man in purple looked at Qi Wan with interest. Shen Wuxia placed third, but I felt what she said was the most practical and had the highest potential for actual business. The third round discussed wives and concubines. The women discussed how to arrange concubines in the household. The men discussed how to handle the relationship between wife and concubines. I glanced at Madame Shu. She was formidable. She went straight for the heart of the inner courtyard. In this round, the most outstanding woman was Shu Pingyan. She displayed the full grace of a young lady from a noble family, the future principal wife and mistress of the house. Every word she spoke drew attention. Even the man in purple nodded in approval. Among the men, the most impressive was Shu Pingshan. He said he would take only one wife, and only if his wife permitted it would he take a single concubine. At that point he glanced at me. I quickly looked away and thought to myself, "Teacher Shu, why are you looking at me?" He continued, "I will respect, love, and protect my wife. I will educate my concubines and make sure they understand their place. When my wife is ill, I will share the burden and take care of her. When my wife faces difficulties, I will shoulder them and resolve them. I will only have children with my wife, never with a concubine. For my wife's health, I will only have 2 children, regardless of whether they are boys or girls." The moment he finished, the entire gathering erupted. All the noble young ladies looked extremely interested. Even Miss Xiao's eyes brightened. He was the younger brother of General Shu, the true heir to the Shu family fortune, with a solid background, outstanding talent, and handsome features. Now, beneath the halo of those devoted words, in the eyes of the young ladies he had become a plump, meat-filled steamed bun. Shen Wuxia was filled with determination. The worst performer in this round is Lin Feng. Now I finally understand why he kept failing the examinations. He really does have limited talent. Forcing him to take the imperial examinations was truly too difficult for him. No wonder he hates Qi Wan. If someone forced me to take the Tsinghua Beta entrance exam, when I could only manage a 98 on my best day, I would hate that person to the bone too. Because I simply couldn't do it. To everyone's surprise, at the end of the flower viewing banquet, Madame Shu solemnly introduced me to the gathering. She announced that Chen Wei was a lifelong benefactor of the Shu residents and hoped everyone would show her respect on the Shu family's account. If she ever had any needs, she hoped they would help her. The Shu residents would be deeply grateful. This was the grand reward Madame Shu had promised me. I was so excited I went stiff. Everyone sitting here belonged to the upper echelon of local society. Once I established my own household, they would be the valuable customers who visited our shop. If Mama Chen knew, she would be overjoyed enough to faint. I grinned like an idiot, spinning in circles and bowing with clasped hands over and over. The moment the flower viewing banquet ended, Shu Pingyan, Shen Wuxia, and the steward saw each guest off, presenting gifts to everyone. The young masters and misses had arrived happily and left happily. Once they returned home, they would surely discuss the matter and send matchmakers to the door. I guessed that Shu Pingyan and Shen Wuxia would soon be married off. Shu Pingshan would probably be betrothed soon as well, though I had no idea which flower of love would fall into whose house. Being his principal wife would be a blessing. Being his concubine would be a misfortune, turning into a glorified nanny. I grabbed a handful of pastries and prepared to leave. Shu Pingshan called me back. I had no idea what he wanted. He walked toward the pavilion. I followed. His body truly had grown much stronger. He climbed without even breathing hard, while I was already panting. I had no choice. Earlier, to hide my embarrassment, I had kept eating and drinking. Now my stomach was uncomfortably full. He noticed my bulging belly and laughed. In the future you won't have to suffer from a full stomach anymore, right? I looked at him in confusion. He walked closer, gazed at me with deep affection, and said, Chen Wei, mother and I have decided to arrange a marriage for me and my cousin Shen Wuxia. She has agreed and will allow me to take you as a favored concubine. Chen Wei, she is very good. She has promised to make you a favored concubine. He continued happily, Chen Wei. From now on we can be together for the rest of our lives. What? I shrieked at the top of my lungs. I thought I had misheard. He thought I was so moved and overjoyed that he repeated, You will be the favored concubine, Shen Wuxia will be the principal wife, and I will be your husband. A surge of rage exploded inside me. I pointed at myself with a trembling finger. Teacher Shu, are you joking? When you said you wanted me as a concubine, is this the kind of concubine you meant? I cannot believe this. This is absurd. He didn't understand why I had suddenly flown into such a rage. His face was bewildered. I used every ounce of strength to suppress the fury in my heart. I took a deep breath and said seriously, Teacher Shu, I remember clearly that Madame Shu just officially announced I am a lifelong benefactor of the Shu residence. You are a teacher and the second young master of the Shu family. Is this how you treat a benefactor? Turning a benefactor into a slave, seeing me as unworthy of bearing children or being a mother. Shu Pingshan panicked. He had never expected me to react so violently. He hurriedly explained, No, Chen Wei, you've misunderstood. It's not that I look down on you. I thought about it for a very long time. This is the only way we can stay together peacefully for the rest of our lives without the principal wife constantly trying to harm you. I was so angry I nearly exploded. I couldn't hold it in and shouted, Why should I stay with you for the rest of my life? Teacher Shu, I have never said that to you. Nor have I ever hinted at it, correct? Why should I wait to be harmed by a principal's wife? Can't I become the principal wife myself? Am I unworthy or am I undeserving? He had never seen me this furious, never seen me lose control of my emotions like this. He was on the verge of tears and waved his hands in panic. Shen Wei, that's not it. It's not slavery. It's not that you're unworthy. You've misunderstood. It's a favored concubine. You don't know. A favored concubine ranks higher than a secondary concubine or a lowly concubine. In front of the servants you would still be a mistress. You would speak and the servants would obey. At that moment the spirit of the top medical student from a 985 university surged inside me. I silently bent down and picked up more than a dozen small stones. While he was still trying to understand what was happening, I hurled them straight at him. I threw one, then retreated one step down the stairs. He stood still and used his sleeve to shield his head. I said coldly, Shu Pingshan, you are unworthy of being a teacher. You are nothing but a hypocrite. Seeing I was about to leave, he shouted desperately, Chen Wei, if you agree I will help you redeem Mama Chen's body, sale contract. I threw the rest of the stones at him. He didn't dodge. He cried out in pain with every hit. I spun around and ran down the mountain, sprinting all the way to Shu Pingfeng. He had rewarded Chen Mai and Mama Chen, but he still hadn't given me anything. Seeing me burst in, he looked surprised but not overly so. I went straight to the point. General Shu, I want my reward. The payment for helping Shu Yuna recover. He didn't hesitate at all. Speak, what do you want? I said. I asked the general to go to the Lin residence and redeem Mama Chen's body, sale contract. I want her to be free. He looked momentarily surprised but asked no further questions. He simply nodded. Very well. Wait for news from me. I felt the tension leave my body. Exhausted, I trudged back. When I arrived I sat in a daze for a long time, then threw myself into Mama Chen's arms and sobbed uncontrollably. She panicked and asked what was wrong. Afraid she would worry and afraid she would be disappointed, I only told her about Madame Shu's grand reward. Mama Chen was so happy she cried. She said, "You silly child, this is something to smile about, not cry about." It was very late before my emotions finally calmed completely. Chen Wei and little Hua were still clinging to Mama Chen and refused to sleep. Mama Chen was both moved and overjoyed, so she let the children run wild. While the three of them were happily making noise, someone knocked on the door. I thought it was Lin Feng and opened it, only to find Shu Pingfeng. He handed me a paper packet. I took it, opened it, and saw all the documents related to Mama Chen's status. The old body sale contract had been destroyed, and the new redemption papers were crisp and fresh. There was also a brand new commoner identification document. Shu Pingfeng worked even faster and cleaner than I had imagined. Tears immediately poured from my eyes. Mama Chen thought he had bullied me and hurried over. I handed her all the papers. She took them with trembling hands, carefully examining each one. When she looked up, her face was already soaked with tears. Seeing this, Shu Pingfeng quietly withdrew. That night I refused to let Chen Wei and little Hua sleep. I told them 50 stories in a row. By morning the three of us had passed out from exhaustion. Mama Chen paced the room hundreds of times. At first light she threw all the old papers into the kitchen stove and burned them until not a trace remained. In her little wooden box, the 3 commoner identification documents were placed neatly on top. These were the symbols of freedom. I slept in a coma for 5 days and 5 nights before I finally woke. Mama Chen said, "You've vented all your pent-up frustration. From now on you won't fall ill again." I hugged the blanket and stared into space. My mind felt clearer than ever. All the vexing emotions from before had vanished. While I had been unconscious, many things had happened. The imperial examination period had been moved up unexpectedly. Teacher Shu had taken Lin Feng and set off for the tests. I breathed a sigh of relief. I wouldn't have to face Teacher Shu and endure the awkwardness. In truth, while I had been asleep, I had thought everything through clearly. Teacher Shu had not meant any harm. He must have developed feelings for me long ago, but because my status was too low and I was the bed warmer of his own disciple, he had weighed every option and seen that he could not give me the position of principal wife. So he had chosen another path. One that would let us stay together for life without being suppressed by the principal wife. From childhood he had understood Shen Wuxia's temperament and could trust her, so he chose her as his wife. The match satisfied his mother and would allow her to tolerate me. As for those flowery words about loving his wife, educating the concubines to serve the wife, they were only meant to protect me. He didn't want Shen Wuxia and me to fight for favor and end up hurting each other. But he had been too conceited. He knew Shen Wuxia liked him, and had asked her whether she would allow him to take me as a concubine, but he had never asked me whether I wanted it. He had assumed he was right. He thought that since I didn't want to be a bed warmer, it was because I looked down on the lowly status, so he had decided on his own to elevate me to favored concubine. He thought I would be overjoyed. He never imagined I would lose my mind on the spot. I understood him, but he did not understand me. In his eyes I was nothing more than a bed warmer, a little maidservant his disciple didn't even value as insignificant as dust. But in my heart I had never looked down on myself. Bowing my head and acting submissive in front of them had only been a temporary tactic. In my heart I was an independent person with my own will, not anyone's slave. Being a maidservant was only a temporary role. As long as the chance came, I would seize it and turn around to become my own master. Mama Chen understood me, but unfortunately Teacher Shu understood nothing about my inner world. From now on he and I could only be strangers. It was a little regrettable, but not much. Miss Xiao left with the man in purple. No one had expected that the man in purple was none other than the current crown prince. Miss Xiao was not an ordinary noble daughter either. She was the only daughter of Prince Huai. Prince Huai had spent more than 10 years building military power in Huayan, and now commanded 250,000 troops. The emperor could not sleep peacefully. Prince Huai was an imperial prince of the collateral line. His Majesty intended to marry one of his own daughters to the crown prince as a side consort in order to monitor and restrain Prince Hui's forces. The so-called rescue of Miss Xiao on the road had actually been nothing more than a staged distraction. The main purpose of Shu Pingfeng's personal return to the capital, aside from protecting his mother and daughter, had been to escort Princess Xiao. The capital was not far. Princess Xiao had temporarily stayed at the Shu residence to observe the situation. She had heard that the crown prince and crown princess shared a deep affection and that there were very few women in the eastern palace. Only one side consort and a few lesser concubines, none of whom had ever had the chance to meet the crown prince. The moment Princess Xiao heard this, she no longer wanted to marry. From childhood she had never been treated coldly. The crown prince learned of this and hurried over in disguise to visit her. He treated her like a sister, showing not the slightest romantic interest. Princess Xiao didn't mind. What she wanted was the crown prince's respect. By coincidence, the Shu residence was holding a flower-viewing banquet, and Princess Xiao was curious and wanted to attend. The crown prince was momentarily intrigued and went with her. He never imagined that this banquet would leave them both stunned. After that, the two sides negotiated and decided to form marriage alliances with the Shu family. Princess Xiao chose Shu Pingshan because she disliked complications, and she simultaneously took Shen Wuxia as a concubine. The crown prince chose Shu Pingyan as his side consort because the crown princess disliked managing the household, while Shu Pingyan excelled at it. This arrangement benefited everyone. Through the Shu family, Princess Xiao was indirectly placed under surveillance. The crown prince submitted a memorial to the emperor, and the emperor approved it with one condition. The crown prince must leave someone behind in the Shu residence so that, if needed, they could keep the princess in check and prevent her from running away. Princess Xiao agreed, and so did Madame Shu. She dared not refuse. In the blink of an eye, the siblings of the Shu family had all become imperial relatives. Shu Pingshan had twice been chosen for imperial marriages. Once to a princess, once to a commandery princess. This truly was fate. The most unexpected development was that the crown prince could not forget the scene of Huayan selling lotus seeds to earn money. Upon returning to the palace, he submitted a memorial to the emperor. Huayan is exceptionally skilled at making money and keeps flawless accounts. Since brother and sister are so alike, if the younger sister is this capable, it proves the elder brother is no less so. The emperor was overjoyed. He had been racking his brain over whether to appoint Huayan to the Ministry of Revenue or the Ministry of Personnel. Now he issued an edict appointing him Minister of Revenue. The emperor even instructed, "You must earn a great deal of money for us. Do not disappoint us. If you cannot think of a way to generate revenue, go ask your younger sister." Huayan accepted the decree with a bitter smile. Huayan had always idolized her elder brother. This time she had personally paved the way for his career, fulfilling a long-held wish. She began preparing to leave, mainly to settle matters for their father. At the same time, Mama Chen was eager to take Chen Wei and me away from this place. She proactively sought out Madame Shu to bid farewell. Madame Shu suggested that Mama Chen should first secure proper housing before departing. General Shu even directly urged us to stay a little longer to keep little Hua company. The physician had said, "Little Ha's rapid recovery cannot be separated from you all." I understood this. A good family environment was crucial for a child's development, so after some discussion we agreed. I used the time to bury myself in the study pavilion. Mama Chen took the two children to look at houses, followed by a group of guards. The homeowners were so frightened their legs shook and they dared not inflate the prices. Mama Chen grew more and more delighted, her eyes practically sparkling. The results of the second examination round arrived. Unfortunately, Chen Mai's words had come true. Lin Feng had failed. Huayan was the first to receive the news. By then, the appointment edict for Huayan had also been issued. Everything in the Q family had been arranged properly. Huayan sent his trusted aide to escort her to the capital. Before leaving, Huayan paid a visit to the Lin residence. She told old Master Lin that Lin Feng's failure was entirely Madame Lin's fault for taking concubines. If not for Tao and Lan secretly seducing him with flirtatious glances and making him restless, thinking of women instead of studying, how could he possibly have failed the second round? Old Master Lin was already bitterly disappointed and looking for someone to vent his anger on. Huayan's few words ignited his fury to the extreme. Huayan's trusted aide, knowing she was still resentful, whispered a few words into Old Master Lin's ear. Old Master Lin broke into a cold sweat. He looked at Huayan, stomped his foot, and immediately declared that he would elevate Tao and Lan to his 5th and 6th concubines. From the young master's bed, warmers to the old master's concubines, the two women were not angry at all. On the contrary, they were overjoyed. After all, the Lin family's wealth still rested in Old Master Lin's hands. When Madame Lin saw this, she fainted from sheer rage. Old Master Lin promptly selected new maidservants to attend her, while Tao and Lan were kept in his chambers. They were absolutely forbidden from returning to serve Madame Lin and delaying his wedding night. By the time Lin Feng hurried back to the residence, Tao and Lan had already been confirmed pregnant with boys. With this double insurance, Old Master Lin no longer placed any importance on Lin Feng. Madame Lin had just passed away when Lin Feng arrived. He was furious but had no chance to explode. Old Master Lin struck first. "Zither, do not feel aggrieved, and do not blame your mother. I have toiled for so many years, yet aside from the son your mother bore me, none of my previous 4 concubines ever gave me a single child. The moment your mother became bedridden, the 2 new concubines conceived. Your mother cost me so many children. If not for your sake, your mother's name would have been erased from the family genealogy long ago, and her corpse tossed into a mass grave." The 4 concubines clutched their handkerchiefs, wiping tears and sobbing. Lin Feng broke into a cold sweat. How could he not understand? He stared at his mother's corpse, finding it hard to imagine that the mother he had always revered could be so ruthless. Huayan had been right. His mother was just like hers, kind on the surface, but vicious at heart. Lin Feng's rage faded. He quietly arranged his mother's funeral. Old Master Lin did not object to Lin Feng fulfilling his filial duties. He simply watched coldly. He hated Madame Lin to the bone. If anything happened to Lin Feng, the family line would end with him. Fates differed for everyone. On one side, Lin Feng had failed the examinations and was sunk in grief over his mother's death. On the other, Mama Chen had finally chosen a spacious, bright courtyard with 4 rooms in total. One set aside for little Hua. We all loved the place. But just as we were about to hand over the money, General Shu came rushing over and strongly objected. He said, "Mama Chen, would you consider bringing the children with me to Huayan? Here you would only have a small courtyard and a shop. But in Huayan the entire general's residence, and even all of Huayan, would be yours to plant vegetables and raise chickens, and you could adopt abandoned children." The moment she heard, "adopt abandoned children," Mama Chen's heart stirred. So did mine. This place was too close to the capital and far too dangerous. Moreover, there was still an unresolved threat. If Princess Xiao ever learned that Shu Pingshan had once developed feelings for me, I might not keep my life. Naturally, the farther we went from here, the better. Little Hua clutched the hem of Chen Mai's robe and whined, "Brother Chen Mai, come with me. Huayan is so much fun. I'll take you to play." Chen Mai agreed at once. We all decided to follow General Shu. He was different from Shu Pingshan. Having held power and commanded troops for many years, his decisions were swift and resolute. The moment he saw us nod, he ordered an immediate departure. After all, his escort mission had been completed successfully and his daughter had recovered. Madame Shu was a little reluctant to part with her son and granddaughter and wanted them to stay until Shu Pingshan was married. But General Shu said, "Mother, we have been away from Huayan for too long. The Wanu tribe." Before he finished, Madame Shu hurriedly told him to leave at once. General Shu was not only her son, but also the protector of Huayan. She understood the weight of that responsibility. Madame Shu was someone who could see the bigger picture. General Shu ordered his subordinates to pack. He told us that the general's residence lacked nothing. Everything needed in Huayan was already there. Aside from a few essential personal items, we did not need to bring anything. Mama Chen seemed about to speak but swallowed her words. I, however, did not. Huayan had a subtropical climate with swarms of mosquitoes. How could we go without bringing anything? Ever since Mama Chen's status had been resolved, I no longer held back. In my heart I had long harbored the desire to decide things for myself. I boldly proposed to General Shu that we bring the most skilled blacksmith and the best female spinner from the area. He did not understand but still agreed. Seeing I had dared to speak up, Mama Chen followed suit. She said she wanted to bring egg-laying hens and vegetable seeds. General Shu still did not understand but agreed again. Chen Wei thought for a long time and could not come up with anything, so he dragged little Hua off to pack every toy they usually played with. By the time we set out, we still had not seen Lin Feng or teacher Shu. Tao and Lanner were both pregnant with boys now and had double insurance. Old Master Lin no longer valued Lin Feng. Lin Feng spent day and night keeping vigil beside his mother's grave. Mama Chen said, "Teacher Shu is the one who truly deserves pity. He practices his forms by the lotus pond every day. He's probably gone mad from heartbreak." Hearing that, my heart ached a little, but this was fate. We bid farewell to the Shu residents, to Lin Feng, and to teacher Shu, and set off smoothly. The journey was peaceful. When our group reached Huayan, the land was vast, from the kitchen of the Lin residence to the Shu residence, and now to this boundless new territory. Gazing at such an immense stretch of land, I felt my chest expand and my mind grow clear. Mama Chen looked around and said, "The land is so vast, yet there's hardly a soul in sight." Huayan had excellent climate and abundant resources, but because tropical diseases ran rampant, aside from the stationed army there were almost no civilians. I remembered General Shu's words, "The entire Huayan was ours for Mama Chen to plant crops." That statement was no exaggeration, because no one dared come here. When we arrived, the military camp was in the midst of a tropical plague outbreak. General Shu brought us to the general's residence, and then hurried off to the camp 3 miles away. Mama Chen was worried. I had heard of tropical plagues before. They claimed lives with terrifying speed. I racked my brain for the medical knowledge I had once studied. Tropical plague was a general term for several diseases, the most dreaded being malaria, especially severe falciparum malaria, which was practically the epitome of tropical epidemics. And I knew how to treat it. I wanted to tell General Shu, but I didn't dare. I feared I lacked the credibility, and I feared even more that he wouldn't believe me, thinking I had grown arrogant after saving little Hua, and was now dragging Mama Chen and Chen Wei down with me. At noon, General Shu returned in a hurry to check on us. His face was grave, his complexion ashen. Trailing behind him was a young man in white robes named Bai Ji. Bai Zhu was a local physician of Huayan, and currently served as the resident doctor in the general's residence. He had once treated little Hua. The moment she saw him, little Hua ran over and affectionately called, "Uncle Bai." When Bai Jai heard little Hua's clear, distinct voice, he was overjoyed. But he didn't dare approach, only stood at a distance, afraid of infecting her. Little Hua tried to run to him but was stopped by General Shu's shout. She stood still, her little face full of grievance. The atmosphere grew heavy in an instant. Steward Bai asked anxiously, "Has the plague grown even worse?" Bai Zhu nodded. He was Steward Bai's nephew. Bai Zhu said, "1/3 of the camp has already been infected. Some are on the verge of." He glanced at us and swallowed the rest of the sentence. I understood. Some could no longer be saved. Mama Chen understood too. She quietly wiped the corners of her eyes, unable to hold back her tears. The Hippocratic oath thundered in my mind. The soul of a top medical student from a 985 university awakened. Before the boundary of life and death, one could not be afraid. A healer must have compassion. I took a deep breath, stepped in front of General Shu, bowed, and spoke directly. "General, I have a way to treat the tropical plague." General Shu raised an eyebrow. Before he could speak, Bai Jai cut in. "Who are you? A tropical plague is no laughing matter. Don't speak recklessly and disturb the general's judgment." I ignored him and looked straight at General Shu. The ancient texts record the tropical plague, and contain a remedy. A handful of King Hao, steeped in 1 sheng of water, wring out the juice and drink it all. Under General Shu's focused gaze, I slowly recited the recipe word by word. Bai Ji looked astonished. "King Hao." I nodded to confirm. General Shu looked at me. I met his gaze calmly. He pondered for a moment, then decided on the spot. "Follow me to the military camp." I said, "Please wait a moment." He frowned. I explained that I needed to arrange a few things first. I pointed at Mama Chen, Chen Wei, and little Hua, the elderly woman and 2 children. General Shu nodded. "If there's anything, instruct Steward Bai." I told Steward Bai that Mama Chen had brought chicken eggs and vegetable seeds. He said, "I will choose a good plot of land in the residence for her to plant." I said I had brought a female spinner and needed mosquito netting made. He said he would have measurements taken for the beds immediately. I said I had brought a blacksmith and needed the finest iron mesh forged. He said he would set up a forge right in the residence. I said Chen Wei and little Hua must not be allowed near places with many mosquitoes. He nodded in agreement. Once everything was arranged, General Shu and I headed to the military camp. The scene before us was even more tragic than I had imagined. The infected had been gathered in one area. No one in the entire courtyard could stand steadily. Those with milder cases leaned against their beds, staring in despair at the severely ill. The severely ill lay on their beds, burning with fever, unconscious, shivering with chills. The air everywhere reeked of death. Of the 15 military physicians, 8 had already been infected. The uninfected soldiers stood outside the barriers, watching anxiously, their hearts filled with panic. General Shu and I observed the scene. He asked, "Does it match the records in the ancient texts?" I said, "Exactly the same." He clenched his fists, hesitated briefly, then made up his mind. He said, "Chen Wei, I leave it to you." Bai Zhai hurriedly tried to stop him. "General, this is a matter of life and death. How can you trust her?" General Shu cut him off without hesitation. "Miss Chen Wei is trustworthy. The remedy that cured Yun was also found by her in the ancient texts." Bai Ju was stunned, then clasped his hands and bowed to me. "Then I must trouble Miss to save us." I immediately sketched the appearance of King Hao on paper and handed it to Bai Ji. He took it and examined it closely. General Shu asked whether Huayan had this medicinal herb. Bai Ji said, "I believe so, but I'm not certain." I said, "Take me to look for it." General Shu said, "Bai Ji, take 30 men with Miss Shi and turn all of Huayan upside down if you must, but find the herb." Bai Ji and I set out with the team. Along the way, Bai Ji remained silent. I was also tense and quiet. I didn't know whether King Hao truly grew here, and I didn't know whether the remedy would actually work. I drew more than 30 sketches of King Hao. Each person held one and bent down to search according to the drawing, scarring every inch of ground. We walked more than 10 miles and collected over 100 plants that might be King Hao. Bai Ji gathered them and brought them to me for inspection. I picked up each one, examined it carefully, and discarded them one by one. Not this one either. Wrong, still wrong. The more I discarded, the heavier everyone's expressions grew. Even I grew more anxious. Could it be that Huayan truly had no King Hao? Based on the geography and climate, that was impossible. Bai Ju said, "There are only a little more than 10 plants left. If none are correct, we will keep searching. If Huayan has none, we will expand to other areas of Huayan." I looked at him gratefully. He believed me. My hands trembled as I took the next plant he handed me. Suddenly my eyes lit up. I looked at it again and again. The stem, the leaves, the shape. If this wasn't King Hao, what else could it be? I said excitedly to Bai Ji, "We found it. We found it." Hearing my shout, Bai Zhai hurried over and examined it carefully. The other soldiers crowded around to look. The lucky soldier who had found the first King Hao plant pointed trembling toward a small mountain path and stammered, There. Over there is a whole field of King Hao stretching as far as the eye can see." I immediately gave the order, "Harvest the leaves. The leaves have the strongest effect." The soldiers moved with incredible speed. In moments we had gathered 2 large sacks. Bai Ji ordered the team split. One group would return with us, the other would continue harvesting. I returned to the general's residence first. Steward Bai reported that Mama Chen had fallen ill. High fever, chills, body aches, splitting headache, vomiting, and diarrhea. I panicked, my legs turning to jelly. I had never doubted the effectiveness of King Hao, but at this moment I feared it might not work. Bai Zhai ran back to the camp, leading the kitchen soldiers. They lit fires and set up cauldrons to prepare the medicine. I said, "Wait for my signal." On my side I decocted several doses at different strengths. I chose the strongest one and drank it myself. After one watch there was no abnormal reaction. I carried the bowl of medicine to Mama Chen. Before feeding it to her, I asked, "Mama, do you trust me?" Mama Chen's lips trembled. She said weakly, "Why, Mama trusts you." I gave her the medicine. Then my heart burned with anxiety as I waited. If Mama Chen doesn't make it, what will I do? I quickly steeled my resolve. At worst, I would follow her. 2 watches later, Mama Chen stopped thrashing. 4 watches later, her fever broke. 5 watches later, she opened her eyes slightly and said softly to me, "Chen Wei, I want some congee." It worked. Bai Ji, it worked. I shouted, laughing and crying at the same time. Steward Bai ran like the wind back to the military camp to report the news. Bai Ji immediately informed General Shu. General Shu, whose mouth was covered in stress-induced ulcers, rushed back like a gust of wind. Bai Ju panted after him. The moment they arrived and saw Mama Chen slowly sipping congee, he trembled with joy. He immediately ordered Bai Joy to return to the camp and administer the medicine at once. Bai Zhe ran off, shouting as he went, "Use the medicine! Use the medicine! Use the medicine!" 3 days later, the severely ill could sit up. The mildly ill could stand. The military physicians wept as they reported, "General, it is effective on everyone." The deputy general's eyes filled with tears. "General, we no longer need to send death notices." General Shu wept as well. The general's residence was surrounded by soldiers. The troops spontaneously chanted, "We thank Miss Chen Wei for saving our lives. Miss Chen Wei, Miss Chen Wei." Gradually the chant changed to, "Lady Chen Wei." I panicked and hurriedly told Bai Zhe to stop them. I was only a stove-tending girl. How could I dare accept the title of laddie? Bai Zhe looked at me deeply, then smiled and said, "A stove-tending lady sounds quite fitting." I quickly turned and complained to General Shu. General Shu said solemnly, "Miss Chen Wei, why do you feel unworthy of the title lady? This title is not that of a palace consort, but of a divine healer. You have saved countless lives. If you are not a divine healer, then who is?" I stood frozen, too embarrassed to know what to say. This was not my achievement alone. I had simply connected modern knowledge with ancient wisdom, but I dared not say it aloud. General Shu paid no attention to my reluctance. He ordered his trusted aide to immediately send word to Prince Huai. The other side also desperately needed this remedy. "Keep it secret." We sat together and ate coconut chicken stew. The chicken was tender and delicious, fragrant and sweet, with an exquisite flavor. With the plague under control, the general's residence was filled with a peaceful atmosphere. Steward Bai had specially cooked the coconut chicken stew that little Hua loved most. Chen Mai took a bite and clicked his tongue in praise. "I never knew chicken in Huayan could taste this good." Little Hua explained, "It's because it's stewed with coconut water." This dish had originally been prepared for the 4 of us. But Bai Jai had come sniffing around and eaten with us. "You really are thick-skinned." The first time I met him he had been so cold and serious, yet now he was completely casual and shameless. He sat down, crossed his legs, and chewed the chicken at ease. Chen Mai stared in awe. "Even more impressive than me," Little Hua said. "Teacher Shu and young Master Lin never sat like this." Bai Zhu raised an eyebrow and curled his lip. "They don't live as freely as Brother Bai. They aren't as happy as I am." Chen Mai thought seriously and answered, "No. Teacher Shu always has a stern face and young Master Lin rarely smiles." Bai Zhu laughed. "See, this is a smart child. He can tell who the smartest uncle is." Chen Mai was completely won over and nodded vigorously. "I'm getting anxious. It must be because Chen Mai has read too few books and his mind has slowed." I decided to go find General Shu. He had publicly promised to reward me handsomely, so I had to claim my reward. I wanted a tutor for the children. General Shu listened and nodded. "We can send a letter to the Shu residents and ask them to dispatch a tutor for Yuner and Chen Mai. Leave this to Bai Jai." Chen Mai was about to have a teacher. The moment Bai Ju heard the news, he immediately went to make arrangements. The letter he wrote to the Shu residents was beautifully penned. Bai Ju was very skilled at identifying medicinal herbs. Ever since I had grown close to him, I often mentioned him to Mama Chen. She eventually grew tired of hearing it and teased, "You talk about Bai Jai every day. Why don't the 2 of you just get married?" Little Hua immediately objected. "No, Uncle Bai Zhu smells like a rabbit every day. He stinks of it. If big sister marries him she'll be smoked until she goes bad." Chen Mai was shocked. "Brother Bai Zhu raises rabbits." In truth he raised them for medicinal experiments. When Chen Mai heard this he immediately ran off to demand 2 rabbit cages from him. Little Hua wanted some too, so each child got 2 cages. The 2 of them personally pulled grass and fed the rabbits several times a day. There was a certain broad, leaf grass that grew everywhere in Huayan. The rabbits loved it. Meanwhile, Mama Chen was busy with a lush vegetable garden. She was also incubating a batch of eggs. No matter what she did, Steward Bai followed and helped. As for me, I followed Bai Zhu every day to learn how to identify medicinal herbs. Everyone was busy but happy. General Shu came looking for me. He asked what reward I wanted, saying the tutor did not count because that had been arranged for the children. Seeing his relaxed expression, I finally voiced the resentment I had kept hidden in my heart for so long. General, before you lured us here, why didn't you tell us this place had a deadly miasma? If we hadn't found King Hao, we might have died before we even set foot down properly. I truly felt wronged about this. General Shu paused for a moment, then answered frankly. At the time I needed to bring Yener back, and she could not be separated from you all. I had considered the miasma, but my mother and the others had lived here for several years without falling ill. I assumed the general's residence was safe. So that was it. Wait. General, the general's residence is safe. Why is this place safe? I must ask Bai Zhui about this later. For now I need to claim my reward first. Mama Chen had cleared a very large plot of land. She was both delighted and constantly sighing about the poor families at the east end of the street. She said, if only they could come here too. At least they wouldn't go hungry. So I requested that General Shu send people to bring the residents of the east end of the street to Huayan. He looked surprised. Chen Wei, you have surprised me once again. Everything you ask for is always something I never expect. But he still agreed. He said, previously we did not bring civilians to Huayan because the miasma was too severe. Those who came would have a hard time surviving. Now that we have a treatment, we can naturally open the gates and welcome settlers. After that he dispatched another deputy general to handle the migration. The first group would be the residents of the east end of the street. Anyone who wished to come could come. When the children at the east end of the street heard they would be brought here, Chen Mai and little Hua were overjoyed. The two of them began counting on their fingers. They had to welcome Tai Dan, Ya, Juzi. Mama Chen was sewing clothes for Steward Bai. She laughed and said, stop counting, welcome all of them. Chen Mai didn't believe her. Mama Chen said, if you don't believe me, ask your big sister Chen Wei. I nodded. It's true, but we must see whether they want to come. If they don't, we can't force them. Little Hua immediately chimed in. Brother Chen Mai and I are here. Why wouldn't they want to come? In the east end of the street, weren't they always hungry? It was brother and I who shared food with Tai Dan and the others so they wouldn't starve. Here they will never go hungry again. I looked at little Ha. This little girl was no ordinary child. Even at her young age she had seen through the heart of the matter. Who would willingly leave their hometown? But for those who were desperately poor, as long as they could fill their stomachs, they would gladly travel 10,000 miles. Mama Chen nodded. Little Hua is right. When you're poor, the thing you care about most is not going hungry. Chen Mai asked curiously. Then what do rich people care about? Little Hua answered at once friends. She pointed at herself. Brother Chen Mai is my friend. Wherever brother goes I go. The two children truly were childhood sweethearts. Chen Mai said, and me. I follow Mama Chen and big sister Chen Wei wherever they go. Then he turned to me and asked, big sister Chen Wei, will you follow Mama too? I shook my head. Chen Mai looked puzzled. I smiled and said, I don't follow Mama Chen. I lead Mama Chen and you to a better life. Wherever life is better, I will take everyone there. Chen Mai laughed heartily and flipped in excitement on the ground. He cheered. Little Hua, did you hear? We have to follow big sister Chen Wei to live the good days. Little Hua giggled. Whether she was little Hua or Shu Yuner, she didn't care at all. In the end, all the residents from the east end of the street had come. Not only that, they had brought their poor relatives along too. More than 50 households in total. Mama Chen and Chen Mai were overjoyed. I, however, was a little stunned. I had seen teacher Shu and Lin Feng. The two of them had come with the migrant group, but they had not immediately sought us out. Instead, they had first gone to pay their respects to General Shu. After hearing about the connection between us and the two of them, Bai Zhai eagerly volunteered to gather information. The news he brought back was truly shocking. After Madame Lin's death, Old Master Lin had not only failed to mourn her, but had grown increasingly cold toward the son she had borne him. Lin Feng had lost favor and his support. Old Master Lin had new hopes and had completely turned away from him. Lin Feng was utterly disheartened. He shut himself in his room and focused solely on reading ancient texts. He used the same method teacher Shu and I had. to soothe his emotions with books. As for teacher Shu, what had happened to him was truly bizarre. At the welcoming banquet for Princess Xiao, she had fallen in love with Minister of Revenue Huayan at first sight. For his sake she was willing to remain in the capital. The emperor was overjoyed and immediately granted the marriage, completely ignoring the previous edict that had betrothed her to Shu Pingshan. Princess Xiao was truly willful. She had kicked Shu Pingshan aside without a second thought and dragged Shen Wuxia along with her. Shen Wuxia was willing to follow because Huayan treated both of them very well. Princess Xiao truly liked Huayan. She feared pain and hardship and did not want to bear children for Shu Pingshan, but she quickly became pregnant with Huayan's child. This nearly angered Madame Shu to death. Fortunately, Shu Pingyan also quickly became pregnant. This was the crown prince's first child. The crown prince valued it greatly and specially invited Madame Shu into the eastern palace to look after Shu Pingyan. Only then did Madame Shu's anger subside a little. Logically speaking, after such an event, Shu Pingshan should have felt so humiliated he wanted to die. Yet he not only felt no anger but actually breathed a sigh of relief. When he learned that General Shu had sent people to receive the migrants from the east end of the street and settle them in Huayan, he did not hesitate. He packed only 2 boxes of ancient books and set off immediately. Before leaving, he went to see Lin Feng and said he was going to Huayan. Lin Feng heard this and, without a second word, followed him. Heavens! Were they writing a storybook? Everything was so strange it was hard to believe. For half a day I still could not fully recover. Bai Zhu casually picked up a lotus seed pod and nibbled on it, muttering, "A storybook wouldn't dare write something like this." General Shu had agreed to let them stay and had even assigned them as temporary tutors in the general's residence. Bai Zhu laughed and said, "The general's residence is going to be lively from now on. The schoolhouse will be built right here in the residence." A schoolhouse. This was truly wonderful news. I went to find Chen Wei and little Hua but couldn't locate the children. Bai Zhu said the little ones had run off to play with their old friends. I went to look for Mama Chen instead. Bai Zhi said she was helping settle the people from the east end of the street and felt like she was dreaming. Steward Bai had led people to a plot of land near the general's residence and begun building houses. The blueprints I had drawn were modeled after northeastern rural architecture. The households were built in rows, but each had its own courtyard, chicken coop, vegetable garden, and living quarters. The families could look after one another while still maintaining their own private space. Land in Huayan was plentiful. Bai Zhi led people to divide the fields. I calculated the area carefully. Each household received 2 mu of land. We marked it, confirmed it, and issued land deeds. They had land and did not need to pay taxes. Every face glowed with happiness. They all said the good days had truly arrived. Huayan had few natural disasters, and vegetables could be grown in all 5 seasons, providing fresh produce year-round. Whatever they couldn't eat, they willingly brought to the military camp to share with the soldiers. Before long, the army and civilians lived together like one family. During that time, the Wanu tribe made several attempts to invade the border but were beaten back miserably each time. Bai Zhu snorted coldly. They thought our soldiers were still suffering from the plague. They deserved to be beaten. Mentioning the Wanu tribe reminded me of something. I pulled Bai Zhi aside and asked in a low voice, "Bai Zhi, there's something I want to ask you." He bit off the last of the pod in his hand and answered lazily, "Ask away." I asked, "How did General Shu's wife die?" Bai Zhi suddenly fell silent. After a long while he spoke. "General Shu's wife was named Bai Mei. She was my cousin." I was stunned. I had asked the wrong person. But Bai Zhi didn't mind. He recounted. Bai Mei was the most beautiful woman among our local residents. General Shu hired Steward Bai to manage the general's residence. Steward Bai saw that General Shu was still unmarried and recommended his own niece, Bai Mei. The 2 of them fell in love at first sight and married quickly. A year later, Bai Mei gave birth to little Hua. Bai Mei loved singing and dancing. General Shu never restricted or bound her. The 2 of them were deeply in love. Every year when General Shu went to report to Prince Huai, he would bring his wife and daughter along. That year was the same. But early that morning, Bai Mei suddenly began vomiting uncontrollably. Little Hua had played too hard the night before and couldn't get out of bed. General Shu had no choice but to set out alone. The Wanu tribe learned that General Shu had left Huayan and launched a surprise night attack. The guards in the residence fought to their last breath, protecting their masters with their lives. But there were too few of them and too many enemies. All the guards were killed, only Steward Bai and a few servants hid in the secret chamber, taking Bai Mei and little Hua with them. But the enemies still found them. General Shu missed his wife and daughter. After reporting, he hurried back. He marched day and night, but when he arrived he only managed to save his daughter, whom Steward Bai had protected with his life. Bai Mei was already dead. She had been 2 months pregnant at the time. Back then Huayan's forces numbered fewer than 500 men. After Bai Mei's death, Prince Huai recognized the severity of the problem and immediately dispatched another 1,500 soldiers to Huayan. When I finished listening, my heart ached deeply for General Shu. I asked how General Shu had been able to endure such grief. Baiju sighed. He never truly got over it. He simply poured all his energy into caring for his daughter and seeking revenge. Revenge. Baiji nodded. General Shu swore he would annihilate the entire Wanu tribe, but they are scattered and cunning, skilled at hiding and escaping. It wasn't easy to summarize. General Shu had spent years pondering countermeasures, but the plague had slowed their progress to a crawl. Baiju clenched his fists, grinding his teeth. We can't kill them outright, but sooner or later we'll make sure they die from the disease. I fell silent for a moment, then said, "Count me in too." Baiji looked stunned. "This isn't a joke." I asked calmly, "Are the Wanu soldiers unusually tall?" He paused, then shook his head. "They're no different from us." The school was completed quickly. Teacher Shu and Lin Feng taught the children reading and writing for half the day. The rest of the time, military officers from the camp trained them in martial arts and survival skills. The teaching plan had been decided by General Shu, and the children loved it. I went looking for Chen Wei and found him climbing a coconut tree, with little Hua scrambling right behind him. Below the tree, Lin Feng stood with his head tilted up, watching them. I gave him a quick once-over. He was thinner, but his complexion looked healthy. Sensing my gaze, he turned. The moment he saw me, his eyes lit up and he strode over, a little tense. "Chen Wei, it's been a long time. Are you well?" I flicked my pale blue sleeve, then smiled at him, an easy, unrefined grin. Yet he stared at me intently and said, "You've become even more beautiful." I answered, "I was already beautiful." He said, "True, but it's different from before." I thought, "Before I was a servant, now I'm not. I can decide my own life, so of course it's different." Teacher Shu stood not far away, watching us quietly. When I glanced at him, he gave me a small, slightly awkward smile. So many days had passed, yet he still hadn't shaken off that discomfort. Lin Feng said, "Chen Wei, you really seem like a completely different person now." I replied, "Do I? That's what Huayan does to a person." With that I turned to leave. From afar, Baiju called my name. Lin Feng spoke behind me. "Chen Wei, my mother is gone. My father no longer cares about me. I'm free now." What did he mean? As I hurried toward Baiji, I wondered. Did he want me to be his bed warmer again? If so, I'd have Baiju poison him and send him straight to the afterlife. This young lady had zero interest in romantic entanglements. In my previous life I had only wanted to give Mama Chen a good life. In this one I only wanted to live peacefully in Huayan and wipe out every last Wanu soldier. Baiji showed me the herbal sachet he had made. Its mosquito-repelling effect was excellent. Mosquitoes spread the plague. Keeping them away meant keeping the miasma away. He made them every year for everyone in the residence to use. This was why the general's residence had always been safe. The miasma was transmitted by mosquitoes. I asked him about it later, and he confirmed my guess. The silk mosquito nets we had brought finally succeeded after testing. But the raw materials were hard to find, so we only managed 2 so far. One for Mama Chen and little Hua, and one for Chen Mai. As for the iron mesh screens, the blacksmith still hadn't produced wire fine enough. The dream of iron-screened windows seemed far off. Still, the herbal sachets were truly divine against the miasma. Baiju personally tied one around my waist. I was curious how well it would work. He grinned. "You'll find out tonight." That night I learned the result. Wherever the sachet was close, I wasn't bitten. Everywhere else, the mosquitoes feasted as usual, keeping me awake all night. The next morning I found Baiju and demanded mass production. "One isn't enough. He said he couldn't sue that many himself, so I dragged him to Mama Chen. When she heard the idea, she immediately gathered all the women of Shi village. Shi village was the settlement the East End migrants had built. Mama Chen had named it herself. The women of Shi village were truly capable. In less than half a day they had sewn 2 huge baskets of sachets. I took more than a dozen and gave the rest to everyone to take home, so the children and elders would have them too. That night I covered myself in sachets. The effect was perfect. I heard the mosquitoes buzzing, but none dared bite me. I immediately reported to General Shu that this was why the general's residence had always been safe. The miasma was mosquito-borne. He was stunned. That very night he ordered fabric purchased across Huayan and had the women of Shi village work around the clock to produce sachets for the entire army. The results were outstanding. Before long, scattered cases of miasma vanished. Not only did the sachets prevent it, they could treat it too. General Shu was overjoyed. He immediately established a medical bureau. Bai Ju became head of the men's division, and I became head of the women's division. Together we devoted ourselves to protecting Huayan. Mama Chen's eyes widened. She said, "Chen Wei, you're an official now. You truly have a bright future." I nodded proudly. Bureau head. Sounded impressive. Compared to my old status as a stove-tending maid, it was like heaven and earth. Huayan brimmed with vitality. In Shi village every family lived comfortably through honest labor. The first wedding finally arrived, and we were all invited. Ya married Ju Lang, the young woodcutter, while the skilled spinner girl married another villager. One was 19, the other 18. They built their own house and became a happy young couple. Everyone sang and danced, offering blessings. Bai Jai and I went together. His gift was a whole crate of herbal sachets. The bride was so delighted she hugged it and ran straight into the bridal chamber. I gave them 3 iron, screened windows. The groom was overjoyed. He kept lifting and admiring them. The blacksmith had finally succeeded in making fine enough wire. In the future they could sleep with the windows wide open and never worry about mosquitoes. But the craftsmanship was complicated, so it couldn't be mass-produced yet. I decided the first 3 would be my wedding gift. Mama Chen told the young couple to have children soon. I quickly added, "Just 2 is enough." Baiju burst out laughing. "How many children you have is up to heaven, not something you can decide." I pulled Arya aside and seriously taught her how to track safe days, how to determine ovulation, when to be intimate and when to abstain, and the ideal spacing between pregnancies to avoid exhaustion for the mother and hardship for the children. Arya listened in a daze but nodded obediently. After all, I was the head of the women's medical division. Everyone knew I worked for the community's health. No one dared ignore my words. Even though the rhythm method wasn't perfectly accurate, it still helped. I didn't know how to make contraceptive medicine and we had no condoms, so for now we could only rely on cycle tracking. I refused to let families have endless children just because life had improved. With more than 10 children per household, even Huayan's abundant resources couldn't sustain it. We had to prevent that. Future generations, especially girls, must live comfortably, without endless struggle or hardship. Childbearing had to be planned from the start, and population growth had to be orderly. I reported the idea to General Shu. He fully agreed and revised it. The first 3 children per family would be unrestricted, in case any were lost. From the 4th onward, following my suggestion, men would be given a sperm-suppressing medicine. Bai Zhu took on the task of researching and preparing it. The Wanu tribe never launched another raid. General Shu sent word and asked me to meet him. I thought it was about the medicinal herbs we had been cataloging in Huayan. Bai Ji and I had been testing hundreds of plants lately. Instead he went straight to the point. He wanted to arrange a marriage for Shu Pingshan. A grown son should marry, a grown daughter should wed. General Shu said, "Marriage and children are important for Huayan's development. You are the bureau head I appointed. You should set an example." I immediately shot back. "Then why don't you set one first?" He answered. "I already have Yun heir. I've fulfilled my duty to carry on the family line." I wanted to say I had Mama Chen and Chen Mai, but then I remembered they were Mama Chen's responsibility, not mine. So I simply said I would think about it. This matter was tricky. I needed to ask Mama Chen. General Shu said, "Think it over carefully. Don't avoid it." The pressure weighed on me. When Mama Chen heard, she wasn't surprised. She said she had been so busy with other things that she had forgotten. Huayan is already 18. It really is time to marry. She thought for a while, then added. But it doesn't have to be Shu Pingshan. Lin Feng or Bai Zhu would both be fine. It turned out both had secretly spoken to Mama Chen about wanting to marry me as their principal wife. Mama Chen had neither agreed nor refused. She said, "Our Huayan is so wonderful. She wouldn't be unworthy of being General Shu's principal wife either." It seemed even General Shu had quietly praised me as a rare woman. Mama Chen had been happy for days. Old people were like that. When their daughter had suitors, they were over the moon. Mama Chen's intention was clear: I had to marry. The only question was who. I went to ask Chen Wei. Since marriage would affect all three of us, I had to ask everyone's opinion. Chen Wei said, "Big sister should marry brother Bai Zi. With him you can do lots of interesting things." Little Hua immediately agreed. "Yes, brother Chen Wei is right. Big sister Wei should choose brother Bai Zhu." The villagers all said that since we lived in Huayan, we should marry someone from Huayan. The little girl had followed Chen Wei everywhere and no longer complained that Bai Zhu smelled of rabbits. I teased her. "What about you? Brother Chen Wei isn't from Huayan." Little Hua panicked at once. "If brother Chen Wei doesn't marry me, who will he marry?" She looked utterly possessive. I laughed until I nearly fell over. After gathering everyone's opinions, Mama Chen summarized marriage was a personal matter. Life was lived by the person themselves. Whether it was bitter or sweet, outsiders couldn't replace them. She said seriously, "Huayan, you must choose for yourself. In your heart, you must at least lean toward someone, right?" I answered, "I don't know. I truly didn't." Chen Wei stared. "Then what do we do?" Little Hua looked lost too. "Right, even big sister doesn't know. So what now?" I asked them. "How about drawing lots?" "Drawing lots." Mama Chen sighed. "Our Huayan still hasn't had her star of romance align yet." Mama Chen understood me best. Marriage had never been my dream. When Mama Chen had picked me up and brought me to the Lin residence, my dream was to keep my head down and survive. When we reached the Shu residence, my dream was to take Mama Chen and Chen Wei and open our own shop. When we reached Huayan, my dream was to give Mama Chen, Chen Wei, and the East End migrants a good life while wiping out every last Wanu soldier. As for marriage, Mama Chen was right. I had never felt moved by it. Even though marriage kept chasing me in every form in the Lin residence, I was suddenly chosen as a bed warmer. In the Shu residence, everyone wanted to make me a concubine. In the general's residence, one person after another wanted me as a principal wife. In truth, I wasn't against marriage. I simply thought about having to serve a husband afterward, never being able to cling to Mama Chen and Chen Wei all day. The inevitable pregnancies and childbirth, raising children. It held zero appeal for me. Marriage truly could not become my dream, yet I couldn't escape it either. What was I supposed to do? I was still pondering when Bai Zhai suddenly shouted my name from outside. I ran out at once. General Shu had captured 2 Wanu scouts. Before they could be tortured much, they had spilled everything. They revealed that the attack that killed Bai Mei had not been a spur-of-the-moment idea but a long-planned scheme. They had coveted Huayan for a long time. They wanted to kill Bai Mei to frighten the local civilians into fleeing and to crush General Shu's will. Then, once the plague weakened the garrison, they would sweep through and take everything. General Shu's face turned deathly pale. His fists clenched until they cracked. The 2 scouts said, "Why never expected General Shu to refuse to collapse. Even after losing his wife he didn't fall. Even after his daughter fell ill he didn't fall." The locals not only refused to leave, they welcomed even more people. In panic they had changed tactics and secretly poisoned Huayan. They had sent a total of 16 teams. These 2 were only the vanguard. "Who gave you the order?" General Shu demanded. Bai Zhoi whispered in my ear. "This plan is quite complicated. Those simple-minded Wanu soldiers couldn't have thought of it themselves." The 2 scouts confessed that their ancestors had sent someone to help. A very clever person. They described how that person operated. The moment I heard it, I recognized him. Wasn't this the same devil who would commit countless atrocities thousands of years later? We could not give him the chance. With his ruthlessness, Huayan would become a dead land. Barren mountains, dried rivers, a decimated population. After the interrogation, the two scouts were dragged away. General Shu asked if we had any way to counter their poisoning. Baiju said, "No problem. The Wanu tribe's poisons are nowhere near as advanced as those of the Huayan locals." General Shu breathed a sigh of relief. Then he turned to me and asked, "Chen Wei, do you have any countermeasures?" I didn't understand why he was asking me, but I still answered, "First we must kill the Wanu tribe's ancestral envoy." General Shu nodded, "Same as I thought." He then gathered his deputy generals to discuss how to eliminate that envoy. Baiju and I took our leave. Baiju followed me back to the courtyard. The three of us, Mama Chen, Chen Mai, and Little Hua, were waiting. Bai Zhai had never shouted like that before. They were all worried. We recounted everything. Chen Mai said, "If children could kill Wanu soldiers too, that would be great." Little Hua chimed in, "Even if 2 children team up to kill 1 Wanu soldier, it would still count." Bai Ji and I were at a loss. The Wanu soldiers were tall and strong. Children couldn't get close to them. Mama Chen said, "Huayan is such a good place. We can't let the Wanu tribe destroy it." My heart felt heavy. Mama Chen didn't know, but the Wanu tribe truly wasn't easy to kill. The general issued an order: the entire population would train in martial arts. Knowing the Wanu tribe's scheme, everyone picked up weapons. The blacksmiths forged me a fire-poking staff. Even Lin Feng and teacher Shu began learning staff techniques from me. Border patrols were strengthened. The elderly, the children, everyone fought to protect Huayan. Watching Mama Chen, already advanced in years, learning to fight with an iron shovel under Steward Bei's guidance, my heart ached. I secretly asked her, "Mama, did we bring the East End migrants here too soon?" They had only enjoyed a few peaceful days before falling into danger again. Mama Chen said, "Chen Wei, you don't understand the suffering of the poor. In this lifetime, even if they only get a few days of full stomachs and dignity, it's already worth it." I let go of my unease. Then I went to find Bai Zhai and told him we could prepare a poison to wipe out the Wanu tribe. He said, "Basically impossible, they're too scattered." We tightened defenses for a while but caught no more Wanu scouts. People began to relax their vigilance. The children started playing freely again. Chen Mai raised rabbits. When they gave birth he was ecstatic and spent all day at Bai Zhu's place. Little Hua raised rabbits too, but hers showed no signs of pregnancy, making her so anxious she wanted to cry. Bai Zhu said the rabbits weren't old enough yet. There was nothing he could do, but little Hua refused to accept it and ran to beg her second uncle. Shu Pingshan doted on his niece and came to Bai Zhu's to help little Hua care for the rabbits. Lin Feng came by from time to time. That day I had just woken up when little Hua burst in with swollen eyes, crying. She said, "Big sister Chen Wei, hurry and control your man. He's terrible." "My man?" I was stunned. Little Hua said, "That Lin teacher, he's awful." Lin Feng, "What did he do?" I asked curiously. Little Hua dragged me outside. It turned out her rabbit had finally given birth, but the kits were much smaller than Chen Mai's. I comforted her. "Newborn rabbit kits are always small, they'll grow." Little Hua sniffled. "No, big sister Chen Wei, Chen Mai's kits were born bigger than mine." Chen Mei nodded. I checked. Could it be malnutrition? But little Hua's mother rabbit was plump. Bai Zhu examined them too and said carefully, "I've never seen rabbit kits this small." Little Hua grew even more upset. She sobbed, "It's all Lin teacher's fault. He keeps feeding my rabbits the wrong grass." Lin Feng stood to the side, smiling awkwardly, still holding a handful of freshly picked grass. I walked over and looked. It was the narrow leaf variety, not the broad leaf. He picked the wrong grass. But even if they ate the wrong grass, it shouldn't make the kits this small. I didn't believe little Hua. Bai Ji didn't either. He said it might be a problem with the mother rabbit's womb. Little Hua refused to accept it. She said we were all adults and were siding with the adults, deliberately making excuses for Lin Feng. Bai Zhai and I were wrongly accused until our heads hurt. With no other choice, Bai Zhu suggested I use Lin Feng's grass to raise a few separate rabbit cages. If the new kits were still small, it was his fault. If not, little Hua could no longer blame him. Little Hua thought about it and agreed, but she demanded that Lin teacher never touch her rabbits again. Lin Feng immediately promised. More than a month later, the rabbits fed only narrow leaf grass gave birth. The kits were completely normal. Little Hua looked at them, pouted, and said nothing. But Chen Wei refused to let it go. His rabbits had given birth to another litter, and every single kit was tiny. Bai Zhu was itching with curiosity, so was I. I asked Lin Feng, "Did you secretly feed Chen Mai's rabbits the narrow leaf grass?" Lin Feng looked deeply ashamed and nodded without a word. Chen Mai burst into tears. He and little Hua demanded Lin Feng compensate them for the rabbits. Bai Zhi and I looked at each other, our eyes were full of shock. Feeding only broad leaf grass was fine. Feeding only narrow leaf grass was fine. Feeding both together caused problems. The two of us put our heads together and quickly came up with several experimental plans. 3 months later the results were in. When rabbits were fed a mix of broad leaf and narrow leaf grass, the females gave birth to smaller kits. We rushed to General Shu and reported our discovery. General Shu was excited and immediately approved. We set to work harvesting. Broad leaf grass was plentiful and easy to gather. Narrow leaf grass was scarce and hard to find. We enlisted Lin Feng. He was exceptionally good at spotting narrow leaf grass among countless weeds. We decocted the two grasses into medicine at varying strengths, and used many different methods to make more than 100 captured Wanu soldiers drink it. General Shu immediately set out to report to Prince Huai. Prince Huai issued an order: every captured Wanu soldier must drink the herbal medicine for 1 month, then be released. We repeated the cycle of capture, dosing, and release more than 2,500 times over 6 months. Only when the same familiar faces began appearing again and again did we stop, mainly because we had run out of narrow leaf grass. The young sprouts had barely emerged before Lin Feng plucked them all. We followed him across every corner of Huayan and found not a single blade left. All we could do was wait for the results. In the 5th month of the following year, roughly 2,500 Wanu soldiers launched a surprise attack on Huayan. They shouted slogans about occupying Huayan and leading the Huayan people to a better life. They struck at midnight. Go to hell. We were already living very well. Why did we need them to lead us? Robbery dressed up in pretty words. Stupid and vicious. Luckily we had prepared long ago. Everyone reacted instantly and fought with all their strength. The 2,000 soldiers were no weaklings. Free of the plague's torment and fed on locally raised meat, they were all strong and vigorous. After 1 day and 2 nights of fierce battle, the 2,200 Wanu soldiers attacking the main front were completely annihilated. The 300 Wanu soldiers surrounding the general's residence met the fiercest resistance. General Shu had already hidden 200 elite soldiers inside the residence. 200 against 300 was still outnumbered, but the moment the horns sounded, every man, woman, and child from Shi village rushed out to help. Following their earlier training, they hid in the shadows and hurled pine, cone grenades and cactus spines at the enemy. The people inside the general's residence fought with everything they had. Steward Bai led one team with Mama Chen. Teacher Shu and Bai Zhu led another. Lin Feng and I led the third, strong paired with weak. Chen Mai led little Hua. Chen Mai fired his slingshot nonstop while little Hua fed him stones. The battle lasted 1 day and 2 nights. Midway, on my order, Steward Bai, Mama Chen Mai, and little Hua retreated inside to rest. I also called Bai Zhoyan to protect them. Bai Zhi looked at me, unwilling to leave. I shouted, "Yuner is inside. General Shu only has Yuner left." Tears filled Bai Zhu's eyes, but he finally went inside. Lin Feng, Teacher Shu, and I held the line to the end. Compared to Lin Feng and me, Teacher Shu was weaker, so the two of us shielded him. When General Shu finished the main battle and rushed back, I collapsed. Lin Feng collapsed. Teacher Shu staggered and nearly fell. General Shu caught him. All 200 soldiers hidden in the residence had sacrificed themselves. The 300 Wanu soldiers were completely wiped out. Not a single person from Shi village was injured. Lin Feng and I floated in the air, shoulder to shoulder, looking down at the people of Huayan as they worshipped the statue of the fire. "Tending lady," I said, "look, they've made a statue of me. There's no you in it." Lin Feng smiled. "She is my wife. Worshipping her is the same as worshipping both of us." I said, "Don't you feel shortchanged? You didn't have to die." He hugged me tightly. "She is my bed warmer. Dying for her is no loss." I glared at him. He quickly corrected himself. "My lady, she is my lady." I burst out laughing and didn't hold it against him. In the final moment, Lin Feng had shielded me with his body and taken 37 slashes. I swung my fire-poking staff, blow after blow, smashing the head of the Wanu tribe's living ancestral envoy. He completely ignored the Wanu soldiers desperately hacking at me around him. In that instant I had only one thought: I could not let a monster like him remain in history. Lin Feng died, and I died right after him. The moment Lin Feng rose into the air, my heart stirred. I shouted to him, "Lin Feng, wait for me." Lin Feng slowed his ascent and reached out. I took his hand. Together we floated upward. After that we never left. We lingered forever above the general's residence. Lin Feng stayed by my side as we waited for an outcome. Before long, the outcome arrived. Every adult Wanu soldier had been exterminated. Only 500 young Wanu males and 500 young Wanu females remained, and their mothers. These young soldiers had one notable trait: they were very small. Lin Feng said, "This small? They definitely can't fight the children of Huayan anymore." I replied, "Thanks to your narrow leaf grass. From now on they won't dare casually provoke Huayan again." We couldn't bear to leave Huayan, so we drifted for many more years. Mama Chen and Steward Bai grew old together, leaning on each other. Chen Wei grew up and married little Hua. General Shu was recalled to the capital by the new emperor and enfeoffed as a marquis. His son with Shu Pingyan was named crown prince. General Shu entered the palace to protect mother and son. Little Hua inherited her father's position and continued guarding Huayan. Every day Mama Chen would sit for a while in front of my statue. I stood beside her, smiling, fire-poking staff in hand. The statue had been carved according to a painting by teacher Shu. He had painted me hundreds of times. I had never known he was so devoted. Ever since I first set foot in the Shu residence, he had begun painting me. Unfortunately, between us there had only ever been a missing word: fate. Mama Chen stroked the statue and whispered, "Chen Wei, didn't you say you would support me in my old age? Why are you gone? Where did you run off to?" Then she burst into tears. A while later Steward Bai came looking for her. Chen Wei came. Every man, woman, and child from Shi village came. I smiled and said, "Mama, look. I didn't break my promise. So many people are here to support you in my place." Mama Chen wiped her tears and sighed. If I had known, maybe it would have been better to stay in the Lin residence tending the fire. But then she looked at the peaceful, prosperous scene in Huayan and said, "Never mind, you were always the one with big ideas." She looked as if she had thought it through, but every so often she would repeat the same words. Lin Feng never grew tired of it. He would simply repeat the old refrain, "Exactly." I confessed to Chen Wei so many times, but she never moved. "She's stubborn." I would smack his spirit with my hand. Bai Zhu often stood dazed before patches of Qinghao. He was thinking of me. Every time he missed me, he would taste another medicinal herb. He lived to 79 and discovered nearly 100 new medicinal plants in his lifetime. Lin Feng was jealous. He said, "Good thing I came to Huayan, otherwise you would have become Bai Zhu's wife." I replied, "At the time he only wanted revenge for Bai Mei, and I only wanted to live peacefully in Huayan. Neither of us had any other thoughts." Lin Feng snorted. "You just didn't have time for those thoughts yet." I fell silent. Lin Feng wasn't jealous of teacher Shu, only of Bai Zhu. He said, "Teacher Shu and I both had our own emotional demons and left you with bad impressions. But Bai Zhi was healthy from beginning to end." He envied Bai Zhi, and Bai Zhi truly was the blessing of Huayan. With him here, the lifespan of Huayan's people grew longer and longer. Mama Chen set a goal to live to 100. She was afraid that if she died, people would forget me. Hearing that, little Hua stayed quiet. The next day she ordered my biography compiled and carved onto a stone tablet beside the statue. She also required every person in Huayan to memorize the story of the fire, tending lady's great battle against the Wanu tribe and pass it down through every generation. I was a little puzzled. I had clearly been the head of the women's medicinal division. I had created a cure for malaria. I had prepared herbs that made the Wanu soldiers shrink. Why didn't they tell those stories? Changing the script once in a while would be nice. Lin Feng answered, "That's the most important secret. It can only be declassified several thousand years from now." I sighed. "Fine." Lin Feng and I were about to reincarnate. He asked where I wanted to be reborn. I said, "How about waiting a few thousand years?" He said that was fine. Before following Granny Meng, I looked back one last time and saw myself smiling, fire poking staff in hand, majestic and